Minneapolis, Minnesota trying to improve to 19-2 here at Target Center this season. And as head coach Cheryl Reeves said, since they've locked up number one, a WNBA championship runs through this building. Let's take a look at our starting lineup for the Minnesota Lynx. No Kayla McBride in this game. She has been on an incredible hot streak. Her last 5 games shooting 61% from deep on 33 attempts, but she's being rested in this game today. And head coach Cheryl Reeves said it's just going to be hard down the stretch managing minutes. It's really going to be game to game. There is no easy answer. They're just going to feel this out down this stretch with Minnesota with a handful of games remaining in the regular season. So in her place comes Dejanay Carrington, last year's most improved player, all defensive team selection, now in her 11th game with the Minnesota Lynx. Nafisa Collier, Courtney Williams, Alana Smith, and Bridget Carlton wrapping up that starting 5. So just a one-for-one swap with Carrington coming in for Kayla McBride. And for the Dallas Wings, led by Paige Beckers, putting up a Rookie of the Year kind of season. Against the Minnesota Lynx, though, she has struggled. Just 11 points per game, 29% shooting, both the lowest against any team this season. Maddie Siegrist, Amy Okonkwo is making her first start of her WNBA career. She went undrafted in 2019. This her 5th WNBA game period. But she has been one of the emergency signees of this team. Myisha Hines-Allen, a former Lynx player, and Grace Berger, who spent 2025 training camp with the Minnesota Lynx, wraps up this starting 5. The Lynx wearing their white home jerseys, and the Dallas Wings in black with green and blue accents. We are underway here at Target Center. Minnesota winning the tip. And into their offensive set. Nafisa Collier looking down into the post for Alana Smith. That's poked away by Okonkwo. She'll hand it off to Bridget Carlton, who launches a 3 for her first look. That's no good. And the rebound goes to the Dallas Wings. Grace Berger has become the point guard of this team. They'll work through her. Myisha Hines-Allen, also a great passer along the perimeter as a post player. She'll swing it over to Grace Berger. Now to the opposite side of the floor. This Dallas team, 9-31 this season, as Okonkwo, a nifty up and under move, gets herself inside and right to the rim for 2. A 29-year-old rookie, 6'2", went to USC and then to TCU, was undrafted, a 2-time FIBA Afrobasket MVP. She's a 2-time Olympian for Nigeria as well, getting her first WNBA action. Kick out pass. Here's Bridget Carlton wide open for 3. She splashes it home. Carlton had an entire ocean surrounding her from the next defender due to the ball movement. It went inside Collier and then to Smith, and then Smith was able to kick it out for a great look and a great assist. Ball poked out of bounds. It's going to stay Dallas basketball. Minnesota leading 3-2. A minute and 15 seconds into this first quarter. Minnesota 3-0 against the Dallas Wings this season, and at least 2 of them by a blowout. Maddie Siegrist thought about her step back. She pauses. She's going to put it up, and she will knock it down from 3-point range. Maddie Siegrist has started the last 8 games. She's been in double figures every game. 17 points, 56% shooting, 46 from long range. She missed about a month of the season, 18 games actually, more than that, with a knee injury earlier this season. Alana Smith looking to get downhill. She'll pick up her dribble against Hines-Allen. Skip pass over to Dejanay Carrington against the length of Siegrist. 4 seconds to shoot for Bridget Carlton, who's just going to have to get herself free. Locked a 3. She misfires that time, being guarded by Paige Beckers. And it will be Dallas basketball. 3-5. Minnesota trailing the Dallas Wings. 2 minutes into this first quarter. Minnesota securing a franchise record 31 wins, and their most recent victory this season against Connecticut, that was 94-70 Saturday in Uncasville, had 5 players of least 15 points in that game. Alana Smith, Dejanay Carrington with 18 points apiece. Dallas back on the offensive end. Paige Beckers, her first touch in this game so far, tries to cross up against Carlton. Berger will drive, draw defenders. Beckers a low pass, 1 dribble pull-up, and it's good. She said recently, I love the mid-range game. It makes me more versatile, makes me more of a threat to be efficient from that space. Speaking of mid-range, Courtney Williams can't knock it down. But her head coach, Chris Koklanis, in his first season, worked with Courtney Williams under Kurt Miller in Connecticut in her mid-range game. And he said, if you can be efficient there, it makes you especially lethal offensively. Myisha Hines-Allen trying to take off to the rim, but she travels, and a turnover by the Dallas Wings. 7-3 is the Dallas lead to start this game. They're 3 of 3 3 of 3 overall so far as a team. Minnesota 1 of 4 shooting to start this game. And Courtney Williams calling out a play, being guarded by Grace Berger, who, as I mentioned, spent time in training camp with the Minnesota Lynx. Late cuts. And she's bounced around a bit, has helped out Dallas as they have 8 players out in this game. Napheesa Collier going to work against Okonkwo, takes the contact and finishes. That's Napheesa Collier working back to the basket, making it look elegant. And of course, always productive when she is that close to the rim, taking Okonkwo right to the rim. And Okonkwo thought she had her tied up, trying to use her strength. Okonkwo has good girth, a strong frame. As Collier has a 3-point play here, and she converts on the free throw. It is 7-6, Minnesota trailing with 7 minutes to play in the first quarter. And Collier was just able to use her pivot, find that space along the baseline, just so crafty, so elegant with how she was able to finish. Hines Allen picks up her dribble, finds Okonkwo cutting across, and Dejanay Carrington with the block from behind, but she's whistled for the foul. It was a vicious block at that. Dejanay Carrington, one of the best blocking guards in the WNBA. Skylar Diggins actually up there in that category too, which is even more remarkable, under 6 feet tall. This is going to be 2 free throws coming up here for Okonkwo. No challenge coming up at the moment. The 5th game in the WNBA career of Amy Okonkwo. Signed a 7-day hardship contract. August 21st, was waived by Connecticut out of training camp, but this is a team that has 7 players out, had to go to an extreme hardship, which I'm sure I'm not the only one who didn't even realize that was an actual mechanism that existed in the WNBA. Had to get special approval to meet the minimum of 8 players. They have been that injured this season, and she's been now in the starting lineup. Minnesota back on the offensive end. Napheesa Collier wide open for 3. She's got it. With 5 points to start this game, and Minnesota has tied things up at 9 points apiece, shooting 50% from the floor overall, as Courtney Williams just got trucked, but she's back up on her feet. It's going to be an offensive foul going on the Dallas Wings, so Minnesota will take it right back. That's 2 turnovers on Dallas, leading to 3 points for the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx with 1 turnover on their side. So Diamond Miller checking into the game for the Dallas Wings, had a really nice standing ovation by a great crowd here at Target Center. Of course, was drafted number 2 overall. Grace Berger, though, is going to get a steal. She can't finish on the other side, though. A sigh of relief for the Minnesota players on the floor. Courtney Williams between the legs and knocks it down a long range, too. That kind of rhythm for her, unstoppable. And that's her first points tonight. Minnesota with the lead 11-9 after working from behind to start this game. 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Had Hines Allen on her and knew she was going to keep that distance, could get that shot off easily. Becker thought about a step back, has Collier on her, 2 of the best in UConn history. Not able to pick up the assist there. Got Grace Berger, offensive rebound. Diamond Miller splits defenders, can't put it back up and in. And the rebound snared by Alana Smith. Up ahead to Bridget Carlton. She turns on the Jets, finds Dejanay Carrington, hesitates, puts up a 3. No good. Sky for the rebound on the offensive side. Alana Smith unboxed out. Courtney Williams one-on-one against Diamond Miller, uses a screen from Collier. She flips it the other direction. Carrington again thought about a 3. She's going to put it on the deck, drive hard. She's fouled by Hines Allen. 11-9 is Minnesota's lead. A couple free throws coming up here for Dejanay Carrington, inserted into the starting lineup. Coming up, what is probably her best game as a Lynx player, and she started off so well. It has been seamless from the very beginning, but in their win against Connecticut. So she has back-to-back games playing former team. She started, of course, the season with the Wings, played 20 games with them, knocks down her first free throw, but against Connecticut on Saturday for Minnesota, 18 points on 60% shooting, 3 assists and 3 steals in 17 minutes. And it was great to see the reception for her, for Courtney Williams, for Natisha Heidemann as well, how they're still celebrated there in Uncasville at Mohegan Sun Arena. Offensive rebound, the lob almost there. That would have been an alley-oop opportunity. Smith looking for Carrington, but she couldn't convert at the rim. If there's anyone you can trust to do that, it is Carrington, but comes up empty that time. Dallas Wings looking to thread here. Segrest jab stab, and then she drains the 3. Segrest mentioned her being on a tear this season. She's got 6 points, the leading scorer for the Wings so far. Collier leading Minnesota with 6 points as well. She's wide open for 3 on the other side, and she's got another. Collier 3 of 3 shooting, and she's got 9 points in this game so far. It's been inside and it's been outside as well. She's 2 for 2 from long range. Beckers was trying to post up inside against Courtney Williams that was poked away from behind against this top-ranked defense. And now Minnesota on the run. Williams gets Berger up into the air, goes between her legs, leaves it for Carrington on the right side of the floor. Takes the handoff from Collier, now back in the hands of Williams again, and 10 seconds to shoot for this Minnesota offense. Into the post for Collier, drops it off to Alana Smith, and that rolls through for 2. An 11-3 run for the Minnesota Lynx. Chris Koklanis is going to call a timeout. Minnesota up by 5, 17-12 with 4:12 to go in this first quarter. Minnesota finding its rhythm right now in the toughest place to play in the WNBA and have a 5-point lead past the midway point here to begin this contest at Target Center. We're going to step away for a moment. The rest of the first quarter when we return on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Alana Smith, what was your favorite TV show / movie growing up as a kid? I loved Lilo and Stitch as a kid, and I can't wait to see the new one coming out. Who's the most competitive on the team? I would say Courtney Williams is the most competitive on the team, and she'll let you know about it too. Who's the biggest prankster on the team? I would like to nominate myself as the biggest prankster on the team. If you could eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would you choose? I would choose French fries, but in Australia we call them hot chips. So hot chippies. What is the one thing you're confident you're better than all of your teammates at? I just have so many silly skills that I'm okay at, but not amazing at. I know I'm better at doing accents than all of my teammates. My American accent's great. Yeah, I go Super Valley Girl. My British accent is great. I'll read the next question in American accent. What's your favorite hobby off the court? My favorite hobby off the court is cooking. I love to cook. You're stranded on a deserted island and you only have 3 TV shows to watch. Which shows are you watching? I'm watching Rick and Morty, I'm watching Ted Lasso, and I'm watching The Office.
Yeah, we don't have that mentality that it doesn't mean anything. It always means something. Always. Can we work on some things that we have an opportunity to look at something, maybe combinations, build some momentum in some areas that we'd like to have some momentum. I think, I don't know, this group, I can't imagine we're ever going to go into a game and this doesn't mean anything. It's a very dangerous place to compete when you go into a game with a mindset you're not going to get a draw and you're completely locked in. It's a dangerous space. Certainly not going to agree to that. Looking at those that we're trying to meet. And this team being highly successful is still, we have, 5 games left? Some hard games, a lot of games on the road. We want to win them all.
Head coach Cheryl Reeve talking about the mindset of this team down the home stretch with those 5 games left, having already wrapped up the #1 seed, the best record in the WNBA, and setting a new franchise record for wins in a single season. It starts tonight against the Dallas Wings, who are 9-31 this season, but Minnesota has opened up a 5-point lead here in the first quarter, 17-12 with 4 minutes to play. Here's Beckers taking off against Jessica Shepard, fading along the baseline, hits nothing, and Sky for that rebound is Smith. It was poked around into the hands of Segrest, and she puts it down. Maddie Segrest now with 8 points to lead the Dallas Wings. It is a 3-point game. On the floor for Minnesota is Shepard, Williams, Carlton, Smith, and Collier. Collier wants it in the post against Diamond Miller, her former teammate for 3 seasons, 2.5. Shepard is going to take it from the high post, work her way inside against Segrest. She wants this matchup too, takes the physicality, can't convert, leaves it short out to Courtney Williams with a brand new shot clock, but then she turns it right back over, trying to save it from going out of bounds. 17-14, Minnesota with a 3-point lead. Here's Miller into the front court. Berger is directing traffic. A pick and pop for Segrest. But good closeout by Shepard to prevent any damage there from beyond the 3-point line. Diamond Miller will line one up. That misfires. And the rebound tracked down by Jessica Shepard. Shepard bringing the ball over half court, guarded by Segrest. And now Courtney Williams will get into the action here. 3 minutes to go. Uses a screen from Shepard. They switch. So Shepard wants it in the post against Grace Berger. Berger trying to front her. Paige Beckers almost in the passing lane. And it looks like it was tipped by Minnesota. And it's going to be Dallas basketball. And we know from Paige Beckers, even from, I'm sure, seeing her at Hopkins, certainly at UConn, how much pride she takes in her defense. Right there, reading that ball. It's the want to, it is the pride in that part of the game, and it's also the IQ, of course, that she has brought to the WNBA this season, along with incredible numbers, 19 points per game, 47% shooting overall of the volume that she does for this team. Miller wants in the post against Atisha Heidemann. They're not able to get it to her. Kristen Williams will zoom across the lane and put it up and in for two. Kristen Williams spends a little bit of training camp with the Minnesota Lynx. A number 14 overall pick in 2022, was the number 1 overall recruit in her high school draft class, went to UConn, where she played with Paige for 3 seasons. Collier going to work in the paint, fading against Diamond Miller, and she's fouled. And Miller objecting to that whistle. Minnesota up by 1, 17-16, 2:15 to go in the first quarter, and free throws coming up here for Napheesa Collier, who got 9 points on 3 of 4 shooting. She's perfect from long range, 2 rebounds as well. And when you look at her numbers too, her last 3 games since she returned from missing 7 with an ankle injury has just been outstanding. 22 points per game, 9 rebounds per contest as well. And she's been particularly hard to stop against the Dallas Wings as she nets the first free throw. In 3 games against Dallas this season, 30 points per game, 30, 28, 28 on 57% shooting. Hasn't missed a free throw either. 25 for 25 coming in. 4th and final meeting this season between these two teams. One more free throw coming up here for Collier. Minnesota leading by 2, 18-16, 2:15 on the clock in the first quarter, and she drains the second. And Napheesa Collier already up to double figures. She's got 11 points now, a perfect 3 of 3 from the charity stripe. An excellent start. Here's Kristen Williams bullying her way into the paint. We'll kick it out to Okonkwo. 1 extra pass, and Segrest too strong from 3. Kristen Williams rebound hard power dribble, and she's going to be fouled on the second attempt. So Williams playing with a bounce in her step. This is someone who's been waiting some time to get an WNBA opportunity. Made her debut just on Friday against Atlanta for this Dallas team. Had 2 points, 1 of 3 shooting in 14 minutes. Signed a 7-day contract. She is the technical extreme hardship contract situation for this team. That was on August 29th as she hits the first free throw. But she was someone who had, of course, high expectations. Going to UConn, starting her professional career, and making her WNBA debut this season. Her, Serena Sundell, who's also been an emergency signee on this team, and Okonkwo, all playing in the 3x3 Basketball Association in Spokane earlier this summer. So trying to find those opportunities where they can. They finally come for all 3 of them. Courtney Williams, 1 dribble pull-up is good. Just working off his screen. Could not be more in rhythm on that shot. Courtney Williams has got 4 points. 2 of 3 shooting to start this game. Minnesota 50% as a team is. Kristen Williams will rise, fire. She can hit from the elbow. Offensive rebound to Maddie Segrest, who's always been a strong rebounder, even going back to her years at Villanova. Deep pass inside. Diamond Miller was surrounded by 3 Lynx jerseys. Misses, gets her own miss, and puts it back up and in. She lets out a little bit of a scream to it. We have not forgotten what a fiery, intense player she is. She wears her heart on her sleeve. Here's Atisha Heidemann plowing her way to the rim, can't convert. Okonkwo comes away with the loose ball, and then she is fouled as I think Smith maybe tried to swipe that ball away. That is going to go on Smith. That's going to be her first. No one else has more than 1. And she's going to go to the bench for Maria Klyundikova. Klyundikova hasn't scored in 2 games since she had a season-high 13 at Indiana. Her 4th double-digit scoring game this season, but always someone who is so dependable, so reliable, especially on the defensive end. That's going to put Dallas in the bonus, by the way. So Okonkwo good on the first free throw. And here comes Klyundikova into the game. So it is Williams and the reserves with Heidemann well, Carrington technically starting today, but normally coming off the bench. Klingler-Dakova and Shepard as well for the Minnesota Lynx with 1:08 to go in the first quarter. Here's Okonkwo, no good on the second, and the rebound ripped down by Carrington. Tied up at 21, 1 minute to go in this first quarter. Minnesota has led by as many as 5 points, but this has been a close one here with the 9-win Dallas Wings. Looking backdoor, Carrington bobbles the basketball, turns on a dime, leaves it just short from about 3 feet out. And now Diamond Miller streaking up the floor with the ball in her hands for the Dallas Wings. Traded here from the Minnesota Lynx. Here's Serena Sundell, her first action of the game. Stopped along the baseline, poked away. Minnesota comes up with a steal. Jessica Shepard looking for a touchdown pass up ahead in stride. Finds Courtney Williams for 2. Jess Shepard always has her eyes up at all times. Courtney Williams now with 6 points in this game. Here's Sundell launching a 3. That's no good. Shot clock is off. 15 seconds to go. As Courtney Williams gets into the front court, finds a streaking Klingler-Dakova, who finishes in stride herself. Courtney Williams having an outstanding first quarter, 6 points and 3 assists, and Minnesota running on the wings. A long 3 is no good by Diamond Miller, and Minnesota takes a 4-point lead heading into the second quarter here in Target Center, 25-21 against the Dallas Wings. We'll have the second quarter when we come back on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Here's something pretty disturbing I discovered while researching this podcast. This is what it actually says on the Los Angeles Police Department website. The site states that the Adult Missing Persons Unit investigates 3,200 cases a month, and 70% of those missing people are found or returned voluntarily within 2 or 3 days. It goes on to explain, and I quote here, since being a missing person is not a crime, police are given a very limited role while conducting these types of investigations. At the bottom of the webpage, it gets more disturbing. There's a section titled, What If They Never Returned? And here's the official police advice. In such situations, you may want to enlist the services of a private investigator to assist in your search. If you can't afford a PI, the police elaborate, quote, another option would be to contact the Salvation Army, which has a missing persons locator program. There is not a single sentence on the LAPD website that would lead a loved one of a missing person to have any faith that the police would properly investigate it. What the LAPD is basically saying is, if someone you love goes missing, don't overreact. They'll probably turn up unless they don't, in which case you should get someone besides the police to look into it. All this is my way of saying, if the police took missing persons cases as seriously as they do, say, bank robberies, I wouldn't have had to do this podcast in the first place and end up chasing a violent criminal halfway around the country. I'm Neil Strauss, and you can hear the full story of To Live and Die in LA.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
Start of the second quarter here at Target Center. Sloan Martin along with you. The Minnesota Lynx at 31-8, taking on the 9-win Dallas Wings. They have a 4-point lead entering the second frame, 25-21. And Courtney Williams played all 10 minutes in that first quarter, 6 points, 3 assists, and she's officially moved into 19th all-time in WNBA history in career assists. She has just surpassed Breon January, who ended her career with 1,340, and that is exactly where Courtney Williams sits right now. And that is incredibly special, especially for someone who just took that lead guard mantle 3 seasons ago in 2023. The way she's been racking up assists, she is second in the WNBA in assists per game this season behind Alyssa Thomas. This is a new career high for her. And entering this game, too, the last 3 games, 24 assists, 4 turnovers. And that is the machine that helps this Lynx offense hum. The fact that they are the top offense in the WNBA, both in offensive rating and points per game, obviously plays a huge role in that. Grace Berger bringing things up the floor, facing tight defense against Letitia Heidemann. A 4-point lead for the Lynx, 25-21 start of the second quarter. Kristen Williams using a screen, trying to get herself free at the free throw line. Again, bullying her way into the paint against Courtney Williams. She will fade, can't hit from the free throw line, and one and done. Courtney Williams being guarded by Kristen Williams. Thought about pulling up at the free throw line, instead kicks it out to Letitia Heidemann. She carves through the defense, and the lefty will finish. It has been fun to see Letitia Heidemann generate these opportunities at the rim. She has been more aggressive in finding them. Barreling her way down, Hines Allen, but Kliuchikova says no. I think there's going to be a whistle here. I believe that's just going to be out of bounds, not taking away that block shot by Kliuchikova, because that was gnarly by Kliuchikova. Hines Allen, who is built like a Mack truck, was barreling down the lane, and Kliuchikova was able to deny her attempt at the rim. She is so good defensively. Dallas back with the basketball again, 10 seconds to shoot. Diamond Miller skips her way into the paint and is good off glass. Even from up here, I can hear her yell for a foul. Certainly upping her competitiveness, facing her former team. Dejanay Carrington wide open for three. Misfire, says that's my bad, didn't hit anything. Minnesota still leads by 4 though, 27-23. 8:54 to go before halftime. Minnesota 18-2 at home this season, looking to make it 19-2. Also, we talk about Minnesota, the kind of season they've had. They are second all-time in win percentage. So it's not just more games setting that franchise record for wins in a season. It is also backing it up. Letitia Heidemann off the miss by Kristen Williams. Some nifty ball movement, gets herself in trouble in the paint, sets up Carrington for three. This time she's got it. She's like, give me the ball again. I won't let you down that time. Carrington and Heidemann have such great synergy from their time at Connecticut, hooking up right there. And Carrington inserted into the starting lineup today for Kayla McBride, being rested in this game for the Minnesota Lynx. As I'm down, we'll turn it over. That just sails out of bounds against Okonkwo, who's just cutting across the paint. So Minnesota will take back over. That is now 5 turnovers by the Dallas Wings. Minnesota has scored 7 points off of them. Courtney Williams is going to take the seats. It is Heidemann, Shepard, Kliuchikova, Carlton, and Carrington on the floor for the Minnesota Lynx. And Carrington just took an inadvertent maybe finger or hand from Diamond Miller as she was trying to get open. And there was a whistle there. So that's going to go on Miller. That is her second. And Minnesota will have a sideline out of bounds coming up. And it looks like she may have again lost her contact. This happened in a game earlier this season. It might have been her Target Center debut, and it looks like she has located it. And it's one of those situations when a player loses a contact, you have all hands on deck trying to pick that up. And so she's hunched over on the floor. She just putting it back in. Is that what contact lens wearers do? So it looks like she's located it. Here comes Chuck Barta with maybe some contact solution. I would hope there'd have to be a little bit of an aid there. I am a glasses wearer. And she's checking to make sure she's okay. She's still feeling around the eyeball. Trying to blink it out. I think it popped out again on her. I mean, you talk about the stress of having to tie your shoe. The ball is in play, and she was still trying to adjust her contact. She has the ball in her hands right now. Seconds to shoot, and she threw it to no one. I think she's trying to say, I might need a moment here. She was trying to ask Napheesa Collier if she was subbing in for her. And Collier, they're trying to maybe stop the game here. So Collier's at the scoring table. I think that Carrington is going to stay in. Hopefully she's completely adjusted when it comes to her vision right now. She is staying in and guarding Diamond Miller on the other side. Minnesota leads by 7, 30-23, under 8 minutes to play before halftime. Paige Beckers has her pocket picked by Maria Kliuchikova. She's going to lose it in transition, though, tried to take it herself up ahead to Myisha Hines-Allen, who will lay it up and in for 2. So it turns into a negative play for the Minnesota Lynx, but the crowd was about to explode here, seeing that kind of play from the post player at 6'5". A miss inside by Letitia Heidemann, and that's going to ignite the Dallas Wings the other way. Diamond Miller getting downhill speed, stripped by Dejanay Carrington. It goes out of bounds, and Minnesota basketball. And now Carrington is going to sub out, and Napheesa Collier comes back in. Minnesota up by 5, 30-25, and she's working with Chuck Barter right now, and she's actually exiting the floor, so she might be needing a little bit more of an adjustment. We'll let you know when she comes back in, but the fact that she stayed in for another couple possessions, and she clearly wasn't right. It's just the kind of competitor she is, just sticking it out. Collier takes it against Okonkwo, will hand it off to Bridget Carlton. Carlton against Beckers, and she will turn it over. The pass just didn't connect to Heidemann. Here's Grace Berger spinning, had that shot affected by Bridget Carlton. Great patience and timing. Kliundakova comes up with the loose ball. It's a 3-on-1. Shepard hands it off to Collier, patiently puts it up and in for 2. Minnesota putting their foot on the gas. This is already 12 points in the paint for the Minnesota Lynx, 11 fast break points. They're amongst the leaders in the WNBA in that category as Beckers launches a 3. That is no good. Beckers in this game so far just 1 of 3 shooting, but able to secure the offensive rebound. Now 10 seconds to shoot. Mid-range for Beckers also off target. She's 1 of 4. To start this game, I mentioned her having her lowest numbers against the Minnesota Lynx than any other opponent in the WNBA here in her rookie season. Got about 3 dozen family and friends that are here at Target Center for her and her Minnesota return, second time here. Off the dribble is Kliundakova. She was wrapped up in a jump ball coming up, just trying to work from the high post down low, put it on the deck. Minnesota leading 32-25, 6:05 to go in this second quarter. Leading scorer for the Lynx, Nafisa Collier, making it look easy today. 13 points, 4 of 5 shooting, 2 rebounds as well. It'll be Berger and Kliundakova to jump things up. Had a false start there. And poked out again on the second effort by Kliundakova. It's Minnesota basketball. Shepard wanted it in the paint against Okonkwo. Heidemann trying to get free. Deep 3 by Carlton is no good, and it's going to be a shot clock violation. Minnesota looked a little caught off guard by the shot clock situation there. So that will be now the 8th turnover for the Minnesota Lynx as a timeout is called. 5:58 to play before halftime. Minnesota leading 32-25, shooting 52% as a team and leading the Dallas Wings here by 7 points. More when we return here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
At Mayo Clinic, we're detecting the undetectable. Using advanced AI technology, our experts can accurately detect signals in the human voice that are indicators of coronary artery disease. We're making more possible at Mayo Clinic because every day we're doing what's never been done. Learn more at mayoclinic.org/possible. Mayo Clinic. You know where to go.
Hailstorm. Sterling. The Never Rest Duality Tour. Live at the Treasure Island Amphitheater. Friday, September 26th with Apocalyptica. On sale now at TICasino.com. Hailstorm and Lindsey Sterling. Live.
Alex Leibel, too, with you in our WNBA Tonight studios for a scoreboard update. Only 2 other contests going on across the WNBA here this evening on Labor Day. One of them has already gone final. One of them tips off in about 90 minutes' time. The Atlanta Dream in Connecticut facing off against the Sun. The Dream playing in Connecticut coming off of a big win. The Sun coming off of that loss to the Lynx on Saturday. And the Dream come out with the win 93-76. Thanks to Ryan Howard scoring 23 points, 20 of those coming in the second half. The Sun have now lost 3 of their last 4. The Dream have won 4 of their last 5. And with that win, the Dream are now tied for the second best record in the W with the Las Vegas Aces. Both teams are a half a game ahead of the 4th place Mercury, but the Aces sit in second. The Dream are in third because Las Vegas has the tiebreaker. The Los Angeles Sparks are in Seattle facing off against the Storm team who have won 5 of their last 6 games. Second of a back-to-back for Los Angeles as they beat the Mystics last night by 3 points. The Sparks are the only remaining team that have not been eliminated from the playoffs. They currently sit 9th, 2 games behind the 8th place Fever, while the Storm are starting to pull some wins together to stay in playoff contention. Let's head back into the Target Center with Sloan Martin.
Thanks, Alex. It is very interesting to look at now. The Los Angeles Sparks really on life support right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games and needing every win possible to stay in this picture. But that Atlanta, Connecticut game was very interesting because it was about a one-possession game heading into the fourth quarter. That would have been a huge upset, but Connecticut was outscored in that fourth quarter 26-10 in that final frame. Out of the timeout, it is Dallas basketball. Minnesota leading 32-25 under 6 minutes to go in this first half. Here's Maddie Segrest launching a three. Nafisa Collier closed out really well on that shot attempt, but a whistle going for that rebound. Looks like it's going to be going on Jessica Shepard, just battling for that rebound. But Segrest, 3 for 5 shooting. She's got 8 points. Paige Beckers back here in Minnesota, 1 of 4 shooting, just 2 points for her so far. Beckers will be taking it out along the far sideline into Grace Berger. 5:40 to play before halftime. Now 10 seconds to shoot for the Dallas Wings as Okonkwo will hand it off to Beckers. Beckers thought about a three, has Shepard on her now on the switch, will slice her way into the paint. That was a nifty move by Paige Beckers. The way she's able to accelerate, but then also take up space and extend in her attempts. Just her length, her speed really on display there. And Minnesota back on the offensive end. Here's a three on the way by Bridget Carlton. Can't get it to fall that time. Shepard battling for the rebound. She remains top 10 in offensive rebounds per game, but looks like she may have stepped out of bounds, though, before bringing it in. 32-27, Minnesota still with the lead. They trailed by 4 points early on in this contest before really settling in here, but Dallas has been trying to keep it close. Beckers trying to get free from Carlton. Will kick it out to Segrest. Now in the hands of Hines Allen. And now Beckers from the high post against Carlton, getting that assignment today. Now in the hands of Okonkwo. 4 seconds to shoot. She's just going to throw it up. That hits nothing. And a weak side rebound to Jessica Shepard. Shepard keeping her eyes up on the floor. Met by Hines Allen, who gives her a bump. 2 very strong players right there. And Shepard turns it over there in the passing lane is Okonkwo in just her 5th WNBA game of her career, undrafted in 2019. Trying to post up against Kliutikova. Sneaks along the baseline. She's got a 3-point play opportunity coming up. Amy Okonkwo inserted into the starting lineup today, coming off an 11.6 rebound game against the Atlanta Dream. Just her 5th game ever in the W, an emergency signee. And looking confident out there. 2018 was the Big 12 6th player of the year. But she's an example of a kind of player who you really kind of look at differently as the WNBA expands the most it ever has. When we look even 5 years out, what roles there might be for players like that who have Olympic experience, who have continued to play overseas at a high level. She completes the 3-point play. It's all of a sudden a 2-point contest. Collier will turn around. That's no good from about 5 feet, and the rebound snared by the Dallas Wings. Paige Beckers tries to get herself into the paint, crossing over against Heidemann. She'll rise, fire, and hit for 2, and this game is tied. 4 minutes to go in this first half, and Minnesota looking for a response here. And they've got their starters on the floor right now. Heidemann in instead of Carrington. Here's a 3 on the way. Courtney Williams drains it from long range. Williams, 9 points to start this game on 4 of 5 shooting. That's her first triple. And she puts Minnesota back up by 3. 3:30 on the clock before halftime. Okonkwo being guarded by Williams. Guarding Paige Beckers. Facing up, waiting for another screen. Williams pokes it away from Beckers. Beckers has to reset with 10 seconds to shoot. She is walled up by Collier this time. We'll work it to the opposite side of the floor. And the passing lane is Heidemann. It's staying here, though. And she was able to poke it out of bounds. Minnesota has been forcing the Dallas Wings to play far away from the basket, trying to make them uncomfortable. This is a Dallas team 4th in the WNBA in paint points per game. Actually, 49 paint points per game their last 3 games. They had 60 in their loss to Connecticut on Wednesday. And Minnesota is extending that defense, making them uncomfortable, and making any post-entry opportunities or drives as difficult as possible to start this game. Dallas shooting under 40% in this one. Not privy to this stoppage right here. Just waiting for the ball to be inbounded in the hands of Beckers, and we're good to go. 3:15 on the clock in the second quarter. Berger goes behind the back. puts it up over Hayden, and that's no good. Offensive rebound. Diamond Miller has that strip by Collier back in her hand again, and 10 seconds to shoot. Beckers behind the back pass to Miller. In the middle is Berger. She kicks it out instead. Might have had a good look inside. Diamond Miller will drive hard, and she is fouled. Some good patience there by the Dallas Wings, a team that is 9th in points per game, 81.7. They're 10th in offensive rating. And a timeout called on the floor. Minnesota leading by 3, 35-32. That last foul on Alana Smith as we step aside the rest of this first half when we come back on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Yeah, the devil's come to take me.
Can I help you? Yes, I need to have an officer call me. My daughter is missing.
On July 24th, 2016, 23-year-old Kaylee Sawyer vanished from her small Oregon town.
It had to be something reasonable. It didn't even cross my mind that there was anything other than just something explainable.
But the story of who killed her and how takes wild twists and turns.
I killed a woman.
A second woman kidnapped.
And then that's when he just started basically yelling at me to start driving. He's like, I need to get out of here. He's like, I just killed somebody.
A dramatic carjacking.
I yelled for help, and he said, I'll shoot you, and I yelled for help again, and he shot me.
A high-speed police chase and a murderer's disturbing urge to kill.
Do you think he would have become a serial killer had he had the chance?
I think so.
It just baffles me that somebody can just take someone's life.
The most evil person you've ever met.
How can it be us?
Urge to Kill, a new podcast from KGW News and Vault Studios.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
It's huge. I think having the atmosphere of your home court plays a massive part in the games that you play, and so having that advantage is amazing because the games are so hard. But no matter where you are, the games are hard. And so if you have that type of advantage, being able to play in front of your home crowd and getting that energy from your fans, it's huge. So I think we're really excited to get into playoffs and be able to play in front of our fans, and we know that they're going to bring great energy for us.
Alana Smith talking about the importance of that #1 overall seed. Home court advantage for the Minnesota Lynx to the entirety of the 2025 playoffs. Best record in the WNBA this season. And also a franchise record of single-season wins for the Minnesota Lynx. And Coach Cheryl, we've talked before this game that we took time to celebrate it. You're not always watching the standings every single day, so it's almost like you look up and you say, wow, we have 31 wins. It just speaks to how special this group is. When you talk about 61 wins for this main group in 2 seasons, that is not something to take for granted. 2 misses at the free throw line for the Dallas Wings. Minnesota still leading by 3, 35-32. You look on paper, everything's in their favor right now, but yet it's just a one-possession game as Williams splits multiple defenders, looking for Bridget Carlton, and she cans the 3. Carlton, her second triple of this contest. She's got 6 points. Most recently was scoreless against the Connecticut Sun, but tied for a team-high plus 23 in that contest. And Coach Reeves says there's an offensive foul on Grace Berger on the other side, pushing the pace with the basketball. She said, it's not easy when you are scoreless in a game, but to have that much of an effect. And she says it's about just being diligent. And what we ask her to do defensively, she is a ball mover. Her presence always important. Williams sneaks into the lane, kicks it out to Heidemann for 3, and back-to-back triples. A 9-0 run by the Minnesota Lynx has given them their largest lead of the game, 41-32. That's now 6 assists for Courtney Williams, having her way against this Dallas defense as Maddie Seacrest is able to penetrate inside, pull up at the block, and she is good on the interior. She's the first wing player to double figures. Here's Nafisa Collier, another 3. That is 3 straight from deep for the Minnesota Lynx, and they lead by 10, 44-34. Diamond Miller gets herself to the free throw line along the baseline. Grace Berger decides against it. Will kick it out instead. Exchanges hands. Here's Diamond Miller going downhill, and she's going to score inside. And Nafisa Collier had something to say there. Maybe she was using her off arm to get into that shot. And here's Courtney Williams in the mid-range, knocking it down. Minnesota on a hot streak here to close out the second quarter. Up by 10 again, 46-36. Looking to apply pressure and build a more comfortable cushion here as Amy Okonkwo tried to get the step going downhill, and she is fouled. It's going to go on Alana Smith as she just spun away. That was a strong move by Okonkwo. And she'll have 2 free throws coming up, and here comes Maria Kliundikova because Alana Smith has just picked up her 3rd personal foul. She's got 2 points, 4 rebounds in this game so far. But 3 personal fouls with 1:10 to play before halftime. 46-36 is Minnesota's lead. As Okonkwo, that's the first free throw, and she's got 9 points. 2 steals, 5 of 6 shooting from the free throw line. It's just impressive for someone who is playing just their 5th WNBA game ever. She last had a training camp contract with Dallas in 2021, was way before the season. But she's bringing the kind of confidence that she seems to play with when she's competing with the Nigerian national team. It's an 8-point lead for Minnesota, 46-38 as Courtney Williams takes off, gets into the paint. Heidemann left open for 3, not that time. And a long rebound to Berger, up ahead to Okonkwo, who with her frame also putting it on the floor as well. She wants it in the paint against Courtney Williams, going to work, slides across the paint, off back iron. And Courtney Williams trying to stand her ground there, bailed out with that miss. Williams quickly into the front court. Skip pass into Carlton along the baseline, inside into Collier, who was fouled from behind, as Segrist knew she was in trouble deep there in the paint with that post-up opportunity. Nafisa Collier, outstanding today so far. 16 first-half points on 5 for 7 shooting. She's perfect from long range in 3 attempts, 3 rebounds as well. And Aisha Hines-Allen going to check in for Amy Okonkwo, the 29-year-old rookie, 35 seconds to go in the first half. Courtney Williams near the logo delivers it to Collier, gets the step on Hines-Allen, and she's fouled by Diamond Miller along the baseline on her jump shot attempt, and Diamond Miller is trying to say, I got ball there, and she's twirling her finger. It doesn't look like there's going to be any action there. And that foul is going to go on Miller. 2 free throws coming up here for Nafisa Collier, where she's 3 for 3 today. This basketball is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Minnesota Lynx, and I spoke too soon. It looks like Coach Koklanis is going to be using his challenge on this last play. Nafisa Collier was able to get free along the baseline, being pursued by Diamond Miller, pulled up from about 6 feet out, and that foul was called on Miller. But Miller thought that she was able to get all ball right there. Miller in this game, her return to Target Center, playing against the Minnesota Lynx, had a really warm welcome by the fans here after she was selected 2nd overall in 2023, was a starter that season, and the last 2 years had to adjust to a different kind of role. And coming off the bench, I remember something Coach Reeves said, where she said, certain things that we did or were acceptable in 2023 no longer became acceptable. I really see these last 2 years as a new chapter in Lynx franchise history, and she had to adjust to that. In this game here today, has 6 points on 3 of 8 shooting, 3 rebounds, 3 personals as well, so she's trying to stave that 3rd personal off as well by pushing for this challenge. And they're looking at, did she possibly get Collier's hand on this attempt? She clearly knocked the ball away, but what was the level of contact on this attempt? 46-38 is Minnesota's lead, 31.4 seconds left in the first half. Minnesota 18-2 this season at home, but playing this game without Kayla McBride, who missed the first 4 games of the season for personal reasons, has not missed a game since. And she is sitting due to rest, which Minnesota has the luxury and the flexibility to do and the 5 games remaining in the regular season, and Coach Reeves says there's nothing planned out. Meanwhile, that challenge unsuccessful, so now Chris Koklanis is not going to have a challenge for the rest of this game. 46-38 is Minnesota's lead, and free throws coming up here for Napheesa Collier, where she's 3 for 3 today. Hey, Lynx fans, become a 2026 Lynx member today, and you'll unlock access to tickets for every game and every round of the playoffs. Visit lynxbasketball.com/memberships for more info. Collier's first free throw is good. She's got 17 first-half points. She has just torn apart the Dallas Wings every time she's played them. 30 points per game in 3 games, and she is more than halfway there. Now that's 18 points for Napheesa Collier in this first half alone, and Minnesota has its 10-point lead back in order. 48-38 is their advantage. About a 5-second difference shot game clock. The lob comes inside to Paige Becker. She gets Courtney Williams on her back. It's going to be a 3-point play as she flexes right here to the Target Center crowd. That was a well-executed pass by Myisha Hines-Allen, who was part of the Minnesota Lynx last year for their run to the WNBA Finals. Lobs it inside to the 6-footer Paige Beckers, was able to get Williams in the air. Finishes through the contact, and she completes the 3-point play. So it is a 7-point game right now. Shot clock is off, and now 15 seconds to go before halftime. Williams skips over half court, waiting for a screen from Collier. They switch. Now Becker's on Williams. Over to Bridget Carlton from the wing. Inside to Napheesa Collier backing down against Hines-Allen. 1 dribble pull up to Courtney Williams off the feed from Collier. That's no good, and that is how the first half will end. Minnesota able to build a little bit of a cushion, but the Dallas Wings sticking around on the road despite missing 7 players due to injury, multiple emergency hardship players. And Minnesota leads here at the break 48-41 against the Dallas Wings. Coming up, Alex Leibold will have the halftime show for you from our WNBA Tonight studios right here at Target Center. Highlights, he'll break it all down. Stay tuned for my interview with Bridget Carlton as well. An inside look at how the players are thinking about locking up that #1 seed. That and more to come. This is the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Marty Markowitz had his share of problems. Troubles at work, a failing relationship. His parents had recently died. And so Marty decided to get some professional help. In the summer of 1981, he walked into the office of a psychiatrist named Ike Hirschkoff.
I go into his office, and we looked at each other, and he said, okay, why are you here?
Marty liked Ike, and Ike, well, he seemed to see something in Marty.
At the end of the first session, he said, I'm going to take you on as a patient. And he says, I don't do that with everybody.
But this psychiatrist, it would turn out, wasn't like other psychiatrists.
He cut me off from everybody. So the only person I could turn to was Dr. Ike.
And from the moment Marty started seeing him, he began to change.
We didn't see him. I mean, he lived around the corner, and suddenly we didn't go there anymore. He wasn't coming over anymore. It's as if somebody died.
If Marty Markowitz had known what he was walking into when he first visited that office, he probably would have walked right out the door and never come back. This is a story about power, control, and turning to the wrong person for help for more than 29 years.
When Ike instructed me to buy this house, Ike told me, no, you can't use the master bedroom. You're going to stay in the back section of the house.
Oh, I'm trying to think when it really got nuts. It really got crazy.
I'm Joe Nocera, columnist for Bloomberg Opinion.
Okay, it's a wild story.
The Shrink Next Door.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
A bananas experience.
Williams sneaks into the lane, kicks it out to Heidemann for three, and back-to-back triples. A 9-0 run by the Minnesota Lynx has given them their largest lead of the game, 41-32. That's now 6 assists for Courtney Williams, having her way against this Dallas defense.
Solid first half for Courtney Williams and the Minnesota Lynx. They lead by 7, 48-41 over the Dallas Wings after 20 minutes of play. Courtney Williams finished that half with 11 points, 6 assists with 1 steal and 2 rebounds to boot. Napheesa Collier is the leading scorer with 18 first half points. As we welcome you into the WNBA Tonight studios for the halftime show, Alex Leibold here with you to discuss some of the first half highlights and the box score that breaks down those first 20 minutes that has the Lynx up by a touchdown. But before we do any of that, let's pause for 10 quick seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves. You are listening to Minnesota Lynx basketball.
Hear every Minnesota Timberwolves game this season on the all-new Timberwolves channel. Here on the iHeartRadio app.
The 31-8 Lynx hosting the 9-31 Dallas Wings at the Target Center here on this Labor Day. The Wings, led by Minnesota's own Paige Beckers, got out to an early 3-point lead before the Lynx put together an 11-3 run of their own to lead by 5 in the first quarter. The Wings fought their way back to tie things at 21, but Minnesota jumped in front at the end of that first quarter.
Poked away, Minnesota comes up with a steal. Jessica Shepard looking for a touchdown pass up ahead in stride. Finds Courtney Williams for 2. Jess Shepard always has her eyes up at all times. Courtney Williams now with 6 points in this game.
You heard it there. Courtney Williams with 6 points in that first quarter. She also had 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 rebounds. Williams scored there for the lead. She would assist Masha Kliundakova on the final bucket of the first quarter to give the Lynx a 4-point lead at the end of one. Napheesa Collier had 11 first quarter points as the Lynx shot 9 of 18, 50%, and sank 3 3-pointers in that first frame. Minnesota up 25-21 after 10 minutes thanks to that 4-point burst at the end of the first frame. They would extend that lead up to 7 before the Wings continued to fight tooth and nail to stay in this contest. Paige Beckers tied things up at 32 before the Lynx then really stepped on the gas.
Williams sneaks into the lane, kicks it out to Heidemann for 3, and back-to-back triples. A 9-0 run by the Minnesota Lynx has given them their largest lead of the game, 41-32. That's now 6 assists for Courtney Williams, having her way against this Dallas defense as Maddie Seacrest is able to penetrate inside, pull up at the block, and she is good on the interior. She's the first wing player to double figures. Here's Napheesa Collier, another 3. That is 3 straight from deep for the Minnesota Lynx, and they lead by 10, 44-34.
A late barrage of 3-pointers all around this Lynx lineup. It was actually 4 straight 3-pointers. Courtney Williams sank a 3 to give them a 35-32 lead. Then Bridget Carleton sank a 3. Then that Natisha Heidemann and Napheesa Collier sequence you just heard there. 4 straight triples to put Minnesota up by 10. It was their largest lead of the contest, but the Wings are still fighting to stay in this contest, and they ended it with a 7-point deficit to Minnesota. Minnesota leading 48-41 after 20 minutes of play. They've gotten scoring all up and down the lineup. Napheesa Collier leads the way with 18. Bridget Carleton has 6 on 2 3-pointers made. She also has a block in there as well. Alana Smith has 2 points, 4 rebounds, but she is in some foul trouble. 3 first half fouls for Alana Smith. Dejanay Carrington starting for Kayla McBride, who's out just for rest, has 4 points with 1 steal, 1 block, and 1 rebound in those first 20 minutes. She only played 11 minutes on the floor in that first half. Natisha Heidemann has 5 points and 5 assists in that first half. Natisha has played 11 minutes herself, and those 5 assists for Natisha Heidemann have accounted for 13 points, 2 twos, and 3 threes, while Courtney Williams is a team-high 6 assists in that first half. 4 of those went for 3-pointers. So the ball is moving well as the Lynx have 15 assists on their 17 made field goals. This is a Lynx team that loves to move the ball and have that high assist ratio, so it's working out well for them right now. The rebound battle is tied at 16. The Lynx are shooting 57% from 3-point range, and that's giving them a solid 18-point advantage from 3-point range, but they do lead by 7 as Dallas has scored 26 points in the paint. 48-41 is your halftime score at the Target Center. Minnesota up by 7. We're going to pause for a quick break, but when we return, we have a conversation between Sloan Martin and Bridget Carleton coming your way on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
This is Napheesa Collier. If you're stranded on a desert island and you only have 3 TV shows to watch, which shows are you watching?
Definitely Game of Thrones. I think I would pick probably The Office. And, okay, don't judge me. This is like a guilty pleasure, but Vampire Diaries. I love that show. I'm watching it again right now for like the 4th time. And I swear you think it was the first time. I can't wait to get to the next episode. I'm staying up late to watch it. It's actually sick. Which one of your teammates would you go on a cross-country road trip with and why? I think I would definitely pick Lan or Bridget just because I think our humor is really similar. Like we get along really easily. So they would be good road trip buddies. Who was the first person you called with good news? My husband, Alex, and then my parents. First concert you've ever been to and best concert you've ever been to. The first one I ever went to was actually Bryson Tiller, which was so random because it was before he was like Bryson Tiller. So that was cool. And I was at UConn. He was like in this little tiny theater. It's the first concert I ever went to. And then best concert I've ever been to, Usher. It was so good. I mean, Ed Sheeran's was really good because he's just so talented. Like, it was just beautiful to listen to, but like entertainment-wise, I was so entertained at Usher's. Usher's was so entertaining. He had like all these shows. He had actors up there like playing out different scenes. And I know every single song. Like every song was a bop. So that was my favorite.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
This copyrighted telecast of WNBA Enterprises may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of WNBA Enterprises.
Lynx up by 7, 48-41 after 20 minutes of play over the Dallas Wings at the Target Center here on Labor Day. Nafisa Collier has 18 first-half points on 5 of 7 shooting. She's a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Courtney Williams, 11 points and 6 assists. She is on double-double watch. She'll be going for her 4th point assist double-double of the season. Bridget Carlton had 6 points on 2 of 5 shooting, both of those coming from three-point range. And she spoke with Sloan Martin before today's contest for today's practice report.
Bridget, you all lock up the #1 overall seed, the best record in the WNBA this season. What was maybe the internal response from all of you guys about that kind of accomplishment, still with this much of the regular season to go?
Yeah, obviously we're super proud of, the work we've done this far into the season. I think, we had a moment to celebrate, but obviously we have more goals, more things ahead that we, want to accomplish, and just, achieving this isn't enough for us. So, of course, happy we clinched #1. Happy we clinched it so early with a couple games left. But again, I think our goals are much bigger, and so we're pretty locked in on the next game and what's in the future.
Coach Reese says this is not a time to take your foot off the gas because there's still things that we need to be better at, crisper at when it comes down the stretch. How would you describe the overall mentality with these remaining games left, even when you do have that locked up and you check that box?
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for us to, like you said, refine some things that, we need to work on heading into the playoffs because we know the level it takes to win in the playoffs in this league. It's really, really difficult. So luckily we have some experience. Luckily our coaches aren't going to let us, slip. They're going to hold us accountable. We're going to hold each other accountable to just being the best versions of ourselves every single day, and then kind of letting the chips fall where they may, but setting ourselves up for success every time we get out on the court, and making sure, every game we have is an opportunity to get better, opportunity to improve, opportunity to be together, and to have fun together. So we're going to take that as it is.
With Gail McBride, having played without her on the floor since to start this season, obviously went undefeated in that stretch, but with the way she's been shooting lately, just what have you seen from her, sharing the floor with her, and how you might try and fill that role tonight with Dejanay stepping in?
Yeah, I mean, Gail's obviously just been on fire, so hopefully I'll just take over that role in tonight's game, but no, it's been really fun playing with someone who's on a heater like that, and knowing every time she shoots it, it's probably going to go in. It's been really fun just being a part of that, and obviously having her out tonight, but, we have Dejanay coming in, replacing that, and it's just I think that's what's, so great about our team is our depth, our ability to, one person goes down, when Fee was down, we had other people step up, so that's why, we've gotten to where we are is because of the depth of our team, so hopefully, we'll be able to handle it without her.
Bridget, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Kayla McBride averaging over 18 points and 4 3-pointers made over the last 5 games. She earned some well-deserved rest as the Lynx lead 48 to 41, after 20 minutes of play. Dejanay Carrington, 4 points. Bridget Carlton with 6. Lynx up 7 after the break. We've got second half action coming your way next, but first, Associate Head Coach Eric Thibault joins Sloan Martin right here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Set a destination for the island and discover a world sure to satisfy every taste. Searching for the freshest seafood? Perhaps prime ribs more your style. Like to load up on mouth-watering sides? Maybe you're the salad bar type. Or simply indulge your sweet tooth. With our endless selections, why choose? Satisfy all your cravings. Trade Winds Buffet, only at Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Destination, fun.
48-41 start of the third quarter here at Target Center. I'm joined by Associate Head Coach Eric Thibault. Coach, it feels like just things are going well in a lot of different areas for this team. What do you see as maybe some opportunities to further build this cushion against Dallas?
I don't think we're that pleased with our defense, to be honest, from the half. We were able to score, but a team that we know likes to be in the paint. We gave up 26 to Dallas in the paint in the first half. That's something we have to fix quickly.
Yeah, Nafisa Collier with 18 points in that first half playing without Kayla McBride. How have you seen the offense click together with those 15 assists on 17 buckets?
Yeah, I think we still have opportunities to move the ball a little bit better. We were lucky to make some shots. Courtney, I thought, made some great reads in pick and roll, and obviously Fee got going. But, we want to be a level above where we're at right now.
Coach, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Makes sense. Coach is never satisfied, feeling like there's still plenty more to build off here. When you look on paper and see how this team was performing, there's a lot of good to take away from it. I mentioned that 15 assists on 17 made field goals, outscoring this Wings team on the fast break 11-2. You have Natisha Heidemann with 5 assists, Courtney Williams with 5 assists, looking efficient as well, shooting 53% as a team. But clearly this coaching staff feels like there was more to crisp up, and that is going to be the theme for the rest of the season. That goes until the 11th of September for the Minnesota Lynx before the playoffs officially begin. Now that they have locked up that #1 overall seed, best record in the WNBA, and the franchise record, 31 wins for a single season, it is about putting the pieces together and really tightening up everything they can. There's going to be some exploring. For example, today, without Kayla McBride, out today for rest, seeing what other combinations are making sense, working on specific things that this team wants to get as good as possible and before they start the playoffs. So they have the luxury of doing that, but still trying to win down the stretch, too. That was something that Coach Reed told me before the game, too, and you heard it from Bridget Carlton as well. She said, this is not a group that is just going to say, hey, this doesn't matter. It is about winning down the stretch. Now, it's being smart and balancing, and there might be some adjustments, but it is still about winning. First possession of the third quarter belongs to the Dallas Wings. Siegrist had it from outside the three-point line. She'll get it over to Aisha Hines-Allen. They want to post up Paige Beckers against Courtney Williams. She will rise and fire, and she is fouled. So interesting that the Dallas Wings and their first-year head coach, Chris Koklanis, were hunting Paige Beckers in the post against an undersized Courtney Williams. And she tried to stand her ground there. She did not leave her feet whatsoever. Paige did more of that move where you just turn around quite quickly to face up and you rise, pull your arm up and try and draw that contact by a defender who's playing very, very close, who's blanketing that offensive player. So no surprise to see a nifty move there from Paige Beckers, who knocks down the first free throw. Beckers quiet in that first half, but still amounted to 9 points. She's now got 10. Try to make that 11 after those 2 free throws. It's a 5-point game, 48-43. Carlton on the wing on the left side looks for Courtney Williams, uses a screen from Smith, hesitates on her dribble, gets it outside to Natisha Heidemann. It's Heidemann starting the second half instead of Dejanay Carrington, who started the game, and Heidemann not able to finish on the left side as she stretched her way across the paint. 45 seconds into the third quarter, Grace Berger has the basketball, guarded by Williams. They're going to lob it inside Beckers, this time against Heidemann. They're hunting that matchup with the size by Paige Beckers. Here's a one-dribble pull-up jump shot. That is good by Maddie Siegrist, who has 12 points on 5 for 7 shooting in this game with 3 rebounds and 2 assists as well. having a really strong stretch of play for the Dallas Wings, who have dropped 12 of their last 13 contests. Here's Collier, a couple dribbles, fade, and she will hit. The patented fade, just unstoppable as she gets herself free. She has got 20 points now, her 20th 20-point game this season. There's a foul on the other side is going to go into Fisa Collier. Alana Smith has 3 personal fouls. Williams has 3. And that's going to be the first on Collier. It's Dallas basketball trailing by 5, 50-45. In the hands of Berger, she'll hand it off to Hines Allen. Amy Okonkwo along the perimeter. Skip pass deep in the corner. Segrest gets the step along the baseline against Smith. Help defense comes. She's going to have to throw it off 1 foot. That is no good. And the rebound ripped down by Heidemann. Williams sprints into the front court. Will pull up off 1 dribble and knock it down. She has been in rhythm all night long. She's got 13 points on 6 of 8 shooting. 6 assists as well. As she moved into 19 plates all-time on the career assist list. Here's Hines Allen, a long-range 2. She nets it. 8 minutes to play before the fourth quarter. Minnesota leading 52-47. They have just not been able to pull away from this 9-win Dallas team. As Collier sets a high screen for Williams. Berger sticks with her. Now on the right side of the floor to Heidemann. 10 seconds to shoot. Smith hands it off to Heidemann. Heidemann wrap-around pass, finding Smith, sprinting to the cup for 2. A dazzling pass and beautiful basketball by the Minnesota Lynx. They lead 54-47 as the Wings go back on the offensive end. 7:30 to play. Berger throws it over her head to Hines Allen, guarded by Collier. Collier extending her defense in the passing lane is Alana Smith. She takes it away. It's 2-on-2. Gets to the free throw line, drops it off for Collier, who's held up hard. And free throws coming up here for Collier. Minnesota has been having a field day on the fast break, and that was really predictable coming in. Dallas allows the second most fast break points per game, and Minnesota is second in the WNBA by a very slim margin in fast break points offensively. So 2 free throws here for Napheesa Collier. Lynx basketball is brought to you by U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Minnesota Lynx. And another free throw coming up here for Collier. Mentioned her 20th 20-point game this season. And her second free throw is good. And this carries over a conversation from the last game. But I did officially count up the number of times she's been held to 9 rebounds recently, trying to get to her 6th double-double this season. Last had against the Dallas Wings as Paige Beckers will slice her way through. A really strong move by Beckers, and she was able to take up space and get into the paint. Collier has had 9 boards in 3 straight games and 5 of the last 7. Courtney Williams, pump fake, pull up from the mid-range. That bounces out. A rare miss for Williams today. Had been 6 of 8. And now Becker's pushing it up the floor against Heidemann. Crosses her up, and Heidemann sticks with her. 6:45 to play. A physical matchup between those two. Slipping the screen is Okonkwo. Okonkwo inside and has a 3-point play opportunity as Alana Smith is going to pick up her 4th personal foul. I looked this up during the halftime break. I knew that Amy Okonkwo was a 2-time Olympian for the Nigerian national team, but against the United States national team at the Paris Olympics in the quarterfinals. So that is the last game before getting to the medal round. That's how close Nigeria was. She had 17 points against Coach Reeve and Napheesa Collier, and against Team USA on 4 of 13 shooting, was 3 for 5 from 3, and 8 for 8 from the free throw line. She had 7 rebounds as well. So she really had an excellent game, although, of course, it was a loss to the Americans. But she really played outstanding basketball during the Paris Olympic Games for the Nigerian national team. Her 5th WNBA game of her career and first start today. 56-51 is Minnesota's lead. Carving her way through the defense is Natisha Heidemann getting right to the rim for 2. 58-51 is Minnesota's lead, approaching 6 minutes remaining before the fourth quarter. Paige Beckers one-on-one against Shepard, gets her into the air, can't convert, or not able to get off that up and under. Ball goes inside to Maddie Segrest, blocked a couple times by Napheesa Collier, allowing her absolutely no breathing room on the interior. Maddie Segrest has a lot of great length, but so does Napheesa Collier. Baseline out of bounds coming up for the Dallas Wings, and Grace Berger, she'll get it in to Paige Beckers again, trying to post up, fading against Courtney Williams, and that was a great play by Williams, who forced her to fade away from the baskets, igniting Minnesota the fast break the other way. Beckers finally able to catch up. The lob inside. Collier quickly turns, shoots, misses. Ball goes out of bounds. Shepard was battling forward. It will be Wings basketball. 58-51. It's been hard to even find time because the list is so long, but should mention that, of course, Arike Ogunbowale not playing in this game. She's going to be out for a couple of weeks with the right knee tendonitis. Noah Zia James, JJ Quinterly out for the season. Louisa Geisel-Suter also not playing. Lee LaRue, Haley Jones, Taisha Harris as well out for this team. 7 players as Minnesota makes a stop on the other side, but Amy Okonkwo there again. A 2-on-1. Miller tried to give it right back. Shepard was right there trying to gobble up the loose ball. It comes away to Bridget Carlton, and Minnesota ends a 2-on-1 threat on the fast break by the Dallas Wings. Courtney Williams at the free throw line, unstoppable. 15 points for Courtney Williams on 7 for 10 shooting. She's also got 7 assists. Fans are on their feet here at Target Center as a timeout is called. Minnesota has opened up a 9-point lead. Their largest of this game is 10, and they've hit the ground running to start this third quarter. 60-51 is their lead. 5:01 to go in the third as we step aside on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
It's what you wait for all week. The three-pointers, the rebounds, the thrill of every shot. Win or lose, it's the hope that keeps you coming back. The dream that this time, it might be your year. And so you represent anticipation and with pride. Because when the pressure's on, your support is everything. That's why the NBA store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Lynx fans, thanks to Xfinity, you can rep the squad in style. Xfinity is giving away a free pair of limited edition Lynx socks.
Screen comes from Smith. They switch on the screen. Williams has plowed back on her. A deep 3 by McBride. Yes!
Just visit a participating Minnesota Xfinity store, ask for yours, and take them home with no purchase necessary. Supplies are limited and only one giveaway per household. Find your store at lynxbasketball.com/Xfinity.
Is Minnesota's lead. 5:05 to go in this third quarter. Sloan Martin along with you here from Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. 5 games to go in the regular season, but the Minnesota Lynx not quite able to shake this 9-win Dallas Wings team and leading 60-51. Looking at tonight's injury report brought to you by Mayo Clinic, your source for medical answers. Of course, Kayla McBride not playing today. She's resting in this contest, with Minnesota having a 3-game road trip coming up. They will be at Las Vegas, at Golden State, which is in the playoff hunt. Not just the playoff hunt. They could be as high as the 6th seed at this point, with how Natalie Nakase has that group playing as an expansion team. And then they'll be at Indiana yet again, which was a thrilling victory the last time they were in Indianapolis. And I mentioned the Dallas Wings missing 7 players in this game, including Arike Ogunbowale. It has been an injury embattled season for this Dallas Wings team. At 9-31, they've lost 12 of their last 13 games, but putting up a fight here at Target Center against the Minnesota Lynx. Trailing by 9, Beckers cuts into the paint one-on-one against Nafisa Collier, and Collier with the rejection. They get the ball right back. Beckers, one dribble pull-up, and she makes good on the second opportunity along the baseline from about 5 feet. It's a 7-point lead for the Lynx, 60-53. So think about her first game back here at Target Center, where she was trying to stop Nafisa Collier from posting up on her, and she was putting up a fight in that one, but Collier, too much strength against Paige Beckers in her rookie season. Miss inside. by Minnesota, and the rebound ripped down by Hines Allen. Diamond Miller with speed up the floor is going to take it all the way. She was unstopped to the rim for two. It's a 5-point game yet again. 60-55 is their advantage. The Dallas Wings playing scrappy and taking advantage of their opportunities. Here's Collier launching a three and draining a three. A perfect 4-for-4 night so far from long range has given Collier 25 points. And with that, she surpasses Sylvia Fowles for fourth all-time in Lynx franchise history in total points as a member of the Minnesota Lynx. And of course, her name is written all over the Minnesota Lynx record books, but that is a pretty special one that you move into fourth place all-time with a rich history of this Lynx franchise. But you also pass a Hall of Famer in the process in Sylvia Fowles. And Lisa Collier is also counting down to 3,500 points. She needed 33 entering today to reach 3,500 points. She's at 25 right now on 70% shooting. 3:30 to go in the third quarter. Here's Natisha Heidemann, catch and shoot three, and she's got it. Natisha Heidemann up to 10 points for the Minnesota Lynx. Also 7 assists. That is one off of her season high of 8. Seagrass picks up her dribble at the elbow, finds Hines Allen. Becker's shouting directions on the opposite side of the floor. Kristen Williams, the hesitation. She's able to get herself free. Heidemann thought she pushed off. She misses. And the rebound to Williams. Bridget Carlton into the front court. Leaves it for Heidemann, being guarded by Kristen Williams. She is going to retreat. 15 seconds to shoot. Then turn on the Jets. Take her right to the cup. And it bounces around multiple times. Does not fall in. Heidemann got to throw her head back. Couldn't believe she couldn't get that lay-in. It is 66-55. Minnesota with its largest lead of this contest. Seagrass lines up a three. That is no good. Long rebound battle 4 and 1 by Kristen Williams. Tried to shuffle it off along the baseline. Seagrass diving to keep it in bounds and into the hands of Courtney Williams. In rhythm, Bridget Carlton for a three. Not that time. And Hines Allen will muscle to get that rebound. 66-55 is Minnesota's advantage. Closing minutes of the third quarter as Beckers will orchestrate this offense. Now with the switch, guarded by Collier, last year's Defensive Player of the Year. Gets it over to Kristen Williams, former teammates at UConn. The UConn players on the floor right now amongst those three. Lob inside to Seagrass. Double team comes. Minnesota walls her up inside. And a shot clock violation is forced. Just saw Courtney Williams and Diamond Miller having a laugh as well as Williams was closing out to prevent any shot opportunity there and force that 24-second shot clock violation. Of course, teammates for a season and a half. And here comes Jalen Sherrod into the game, who is lightning quick. And someone who plays with a chip on her shoulder. She was undrafted last year, won a WNBA championship with the New York Liberty. But this time, we're seeing her run the show earlier, maybe more than we have so far in her time here with the Minnesota Lynx after she was brought in the middle of this month. Carlton, working from straight on, is going to find Sherrod, who steps into a three, and she'll miss everything there. 1:41 to play, but Jalen Sherrod, when she was at Colorado, so they were a successful program, especially when she stepped in, but certainly under the radar in the grand scope of women's college basketball. But she was a 3-time Pac-12 all-defensive selection, 2-time all-conference as well. Diamond Miller tries to get downhill, up and under, and through and in for Diamond Miller. 66-57 is Minnesota's lead, and Diamond Miller now up to 10 points on 5 for 11 shooting against her former team. First time back here at Target Center, greeted warmly with a standing ovation and a video thank you before this game. Peter Dukova, no good off glass, and that was a close look that she was not able to put down. Igniting the Dallas Wings the other way. Seagrass with speed into the front court. Alana Smith able to stand her ground despite 4 personal fouls. Then Bridget Carlton is fouled as she secured that rebound. Seagrass, one of the leading scorer for the Dallas Wings. That goes to Paige Beckers, who had been subdued at times. Not so much after the first quarter, though. She's got 15 points, 50% shooting. Her knack for efficiency is something that sets her apart. And this is newsworthy. Maybe our listeners might be interested in this, but she did say definitively before this game she is a corn dog person over Pronto Comp after this group went to the Minnesota State Fair just yesterday. This is Atisha Heidemann sprinting her way to the rim. She's been so strong when she's been putting the ball on the floor. And she's got 12 points right now for the Minnesota Lynx. 35 seconds to play in this third quarter. 7 points for Heidemann in this third quarter alone. Diamond Miller from the free throw line gets the way to Hines Allen. Berger with the basketball now uses a screen from Hines Allen. That's a hard one to get around. Berger is going to net the long two over the extended arms of Kliundakova. And still, the Dallas Wings refusing to go down quietly. It's back to a single-digit lead. 68-59 as the shot clock is off. 9 seconds to go. Kliundakova comes with a high screen. Heidemann trying to save. Kristen Williams sets herself up with a step-back three and rattles it home. An ultra-confident shot for Atisha Heidemann. 10 points in the third quarter as Hines Allen will heave at the buzzer. We head into the fourth, leading 71-59. The Minnesota Lynx with a late push courtesy of Atisha Heidemann and her electric scoring ability. 15 points for Atisha Heidemann with 7 assists as well, all on display here for the crowd here at Target Center. One more break. We'll come back with the fourth quarter right here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
In March of 2005, financier Jeffrey Epstein is at a charity benefit in New York City. Wall Street titans are in attendance. Rod Stewart is booked to perform. In a photo taken that night, Epstein has his arm around a woman, pulling her head toward his so that his smirking lips graze her temple. Epstein is tan and relaxed, and he looks like he doesn't have a care in the world. On that same day, 1,200 miles south, a 14-year-old girl in Palm Beach, Florida, gives a statement to the police that will launch an investigation. But maybe Epstein is right not to be worried.
Nobody cared what these women had to say. Their insights were ignored as the feds and then the state made this case go away.
Mr. Epstein should have been looking at a potential sentence of 360 years at a minimum. But that's not what happened, because there was a power dynamic here, wasn't there?
The recent charges against Jeffrey Epstein have brought down a cabinet member and tarnished the reputations of billionaires and elite universities.
Here is a group of people, and I got to say mostly men, who talk a great deal about changing the world, but are fundamentally functioning as a cartel.
A very simple question. Who is Jeffrey Epstein?
Who is Jeffrey Epstein? Who is in his inner circle?
The mystery of Jeffrey Epstein's wealth has never been clarified.
He started out as a Dalton teacher, right? A teacher at the private school in Manhattan.
From Wondery, the company behind Dirty John and The Shrink Next Door, comes the mysterious Mr. Epstein.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
Scheme of work players to buy in, so it goes hand in hand. And these players from day one have had this way about them of making the extra was not ever something, not in every situation. We've had a couple players that have learned, the value of just making one more,
That's head coach Cheryl Reeve talking about her team's high assist numbers after last year setting a WNBA record. They have 22 on 26 field goals in this game. As we start the fourth quarter here at Target Center, the Minnesota Lynx leading the Dallas Wings, who have 9 wins this season, 71-59. Jalen Sherrod on the floor to start this fourth quarter. Bridget Carlton, one dribble, step back three is good. You had Atisha Heidemann with 10 points in that third quarter. Bridget Carlton now with her third triple in this game. Minnesota playing without Kayla McBride, out today due to rest, and just announced that Dejanay Carrington, who started in her place, sustained a shoulder injury in the second quarter. She's been ruled as doubtful for the remainder of this game. On the other side, the Dallas Wings with the response, Kristen Williams with a three, and then Atisha Heidemann barrels her way into the paint, and she is fouled. So that's the update we have on Dejanay Carrington. The last we saw her, she had actually a contact situation. So not sure if it was that play exactly where she may have sustained that shoulder injury, but doubtful to return. I actually don't think I see her on Minnesota's bench right now. Free throws here for Natisha Heidemann, who was electric in that third quarter. 10 points for her. She has equaled her season high with 8 assists in this game so far, playing without Kayla McBride. And her career high is 9. So she's very close to that right now. A couple free throws are good. 76-62 for Natisha Heidemann, having an outstanding game. She has plus 16, which leads everybody. Miss on the other side, and Minnesota off to the races right now. Here comes Heidemann, who changes the game with her pace. Here's Bridget Carlton knocking down another 3. All Natisha Heidemann had to do was speed up the floor, get the Dallas Wings in disarray, and Bridget Carlton cans the 3 on the other side. She's got 12 points on 4 of 7 shooting from deep, and Minnesota leads 79-62, finally pulling away from the Dallas Wings. That lead had been hovering between 8 and 10, 7, around that range, just close enough by this Dallas Wings team, beset by injury. Just 9 wins this season. They've lost 12 of their last 13 games. Here's Kristen Williams looking for Hines Allen, fouled by Kliujakova. And that's going to be her second. Alana Smith has 4 personals right now. Courtney Williams with 3. Yeah, that's about all the foul trouble at the moment. Minnesota led in scoring by Nafisa Collier's 20th 20-point game. She's got 25 right now, moving to 4th all-time in Lynx franchise history career points, passing Sylvia Fouts. Deep post up for Maddie Segrest against Heidemann, but she misses from point-blank range. That seems what the Dallas Wings are trying to do, is hunt those deep post-ups against Heidemann and Courtney Williams, and they haven't found much success. Jalen Sherrod getting some minutes with Dejanay Carrington, doubtful to return, bounces into the paint and drops it in for 2. She has got some serious energy in her step. She is celebrated by her teammates, scoring in a Minnesota Lynx uniform. 81-62. All of a sudden, this lead has exploded. And with 8:03 to go, Minnesota in control here at Target Center. We're going to step away, have more when we come back on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Ever wonder how artificial intelligence or 3D printing is used to solve medical problems? Or how research is discovering new ways to slow or even stop medical conditions we used to think of as untreatable? I'm Kathy Worzer. Listen to Tomorrow's Cure, a podcast where I interview experts from Mayo Clinic and other renowned organizations. What they describe may sound futuristic, but listen and you'll find out Tomorrow's Cure is already here. Find it now wherever you get your podcasts.
Looking to shoot your shot and score big, all while giving back to your community? Pilot Games is bringing entertainment with exciting electronic pull tabs to bars and restaurants across Minnesota. Every play is a shot at a jackpot and an assist to a local charity. It's entertainment with a purpose. So next time you're out, look for Pilot Games. Big wins, local impact, nothing but net. Learn more at pilotgames.com.
Alex Leibel here with you in our WNBA Tonight studios for a scoreboard update. One more scoreboard update in this contest. There are 2 other games going on across the WNBA this evening on Labor Day. One of them has gone final. The other tips off in just about 30 minutes time. The one tipping off in 30 minutes is the Los Angeles Sparks, who have lost 2 of their last 3 games, sitting in 9th place out of the playoff picture. They travel to Seattle to face a red-hot Storm team that has won 5 of their last 6. The Storm have jumped all the way into 7th place in the standings. They are a half game ahead of the 8th place Fever, 2.5 games ahead of the 9th place Sparks. The Sparks are holding on for dear life. They are trying their best to stay in playoff contention. They need a win tonight. The Atlanta Dream were in Connecticut earlier this afternoon facing off against the Sun. The Sun have lost 2 straight now and 3 of their last 4 after they could not get over the hump against the Atlanta Dream. It was a close contest for much of this one in Connecticut, but the Dream come out with a comfortable 17-point win, 93-76, thanks to 20 second-half points from Ryan Howard. the Dream are now tied with the Aces for one of the best records in the WNBA. They're tied at second place. Let's head back into the Target Center for the finish with Sloan Martin.
Thanks, Alex. We have 8:05 on the clock in this fourth quarter here at Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. Minnesota leading the 9-win Dallas Wings 81-62. Their largest lead of the game after Dallas was just being pretty pesky, sticking around for much of this game, keeping it within at least 3 possessions, up to 10 points. But Minnesota starting to pull away right now. A 10-3 burst to start this fourth quarter. They're playing without Kayla McBride, who's out due to rest, and Dejanay Carrington doubtful to return with a shoulder injury. Paige Beckers faces up. Mid-range doesn't go, and the rebound ripped down by Jalen Sherrod. And Sherrod getting a run here and engineering this offense. Signed a couple weeks ago from the New York Liberty. Takes the handoff from Alana Smith off a curl. Courtney Williams might have had that shot there. Instead, looks for the assist. No good that time from long range by Alana Smith. Tracked down by Maddie Seacrest, but she stepped out of bounds, and Minnesota will have the possession again. Both Natisha Heidemann and Courtney Williams sitting at 9 assists apiece. Courtney Williams looking for her 4th double-double this season. That would equal her career high for double-doubles in a single season. She had 4 in 2023 with Chicago. And Natisha Heidemann looking for the first double-double of her career. She is not on the floor right now, but Williams is. Minnesota will turn the ball over, just sneaking in and getting that steal. The combination of Seacrest and Miller. Minnesota leads by 19, 7:21 to go. Looking to prove to 19-2 this season at Target Center. Hines Allen gets clean to Kova in the air, plows her way in, and is fouled by Alana Smith. That is going to be 5 on Smith. Looking aggrieved with that whistle. And free throws coming up here for Hines Allen. Come celebrate Fan Appreciation Night on Thursday, September 11th, as Fee and the Lynx match up with the Golden State Valkyries. Arrive early to score a limited edition poster, courtesy of the Minnesota Star Tribune. Your tickets now at lynxbasketball.com/tickets. Timeout is called on the floor. It looks like Minnesota is going to be challenging this last play, called the 5th personal foul on Alana Smith. We're going to sort this out when we return. We're going to step aside right now. Minnesota leading 81-62 right here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
I'm Mark Murphy. I'm a chef, restaurateur, and all-around curious guy with a true interest in all things food. I've been cooking for over 30 years. I've worked in and owned a number of restaurants, but my experience as a judge on Food Network's Chopped for the past 10 years has really piqued my curiosity in the food culture. I believe there's a story behind every meal, a story behind every person who makes it, a story behind each ingredient used, and I want to know everything I can about it, and that's why we're here. My new podcast, Food 360, will take an all-encompassing look at the world of food, bringing history, science, and culture to the table. You'll get behind-the-scenes stories from my friends in the industry and dig into why we eat the way we do.
I always say the restaurants are like nuclear particles. After 5 years, they start losing their mojo, and you have to re-energize them.
Being a restaurant worker, being a chef, is the biggest privilege of my life. To be able to do that all over the world, it's hard, but it's also one of the things that actually gets me up in the morning.
Truthfully, I'm able to separate, for the most part, my personal likes and dislikes from if a dish is successful in its preparation and judge if it has merit. And I think a lot of it also comes from the chef's intention.
The most important thing for me is not my writing ego. It's getting people to cook delicious food.
Be sure to subscribe to Food 360 on the iHeartRadio app.
Sloan Martin back with you here at Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. 7:12 to play in this fourth quarter. Minnesota leading the 9-win Dallas Wings 81-62, hoping to send this team to 13 losses their last 14 games. And that last challenge, not successful for the Minnesota Lynx. So that is going to be 5 personal fouls on Alana Smith, and both teams without their challenges for the rest of this game with 7:12 to go. It was Myisha Hines-Allen steamrolling her way to the rim, was met by Alana Smith. Minnesota decides to use its challenge, and the Lynx, one of the most successful teams when it comes to success rate with those challenges, hovering around 80%. Only the Las Vegas Aces are higher, but that time unsuccessful. That first free throw, no good by Hines-Allen. The second one is. And Minnesota with Kliundikova, Heidemann, Shepard, Sherrod, and Carlton on the offensive end. Heidemann was blitzed by both Beckers and Hines-Allen. She loses control of the basketball. And it will go back to the Dallas Wings. For Minnesota, that is their 12th turnover of this game that has led to 12 Dallas Wings points. Kristen Williams now running this offense for the Wings, directing traffic, guarded by Sherrod, getting her first real extended minutes for the Minnesota Lynx. Dejanay Carrington ruled out for this game with a shoulder injury sustained in the second quarter. Ball comes inside to Paige Beckers, and she was fouled on the attempted post-up. And that should be going on Atisha Heidemann. And for Heidemann, that's going to be just her first personal. Or either that's going to go on Kliundikova, and that'll be her third. 6:43 to go here at Target Center. 81-63 is Minnesota's lead, finally pulling away in this fourth quarter. Kristen Williams looks up with the hesitation, loses the dribble. Sechrist on the left side of the floor, leaves it for Diamond Miller. 2 seconds to shoot. She drives into the paint. I don't think she would have gotten it off in time, but she misses anyway. And the rebound secured by Kliundikova. Sherrod brings it up over half court. Now in the hands of Kliundikova, 15 seconds to shoot. The hesitation by Carlton, leaving it on the baseline for Jessica Shepard. Turns the corner, stripped inside, gets it right back. It is good right at the rim with the left hand for two. Shepard, her first points, had been 0 for 2. Of course, has 2 assists and 5 rebounds in this game. She's never going to put up many zeros as Kliundikova in the passing lane finds Heidemann. She's going to slow things up, see her teammates fill their lanes. And Shepard fouled inside. She just whipped a pass into Shepard, who had her defender on her back. And that foul going, looks like on Sechrist. And coming into the game for the Minnesota Lynx is Alari Kosu, the 20-year-old Russian. So both her and Jalen Sherrod getting some sustained time on the floor right now with 5:50 to go in this contest. It is Kosu, Kliundikova, Shepard, Heidemann, and Sherrod. They get the ball into Kliundikova, now in the hands of Heidemann, running the show the rest of the way. They switch on that screen, now guarded by Hines-Allen. She'll pick up her dribble. Under 10 seconds to shoot. Kosu, the lob inside to Shepard, spins amongst multiple black jerseys and muscles it up and in for 2. 85-63 is Minnesota's lead as Beckers gets into the front court. Beckers today, 15 points, 6 of 13 shooting, just 2 assists. And on that last play, Natisha Heidemann with her 10th assist of this game. That is a brand new career high, and she has secured the first double-double of her career. 17 points, 10 assists in 25 minutes. Minnesota back with the basketball again, facing up as Maria Kliundikova can't knock it down. Under 5 minutes to go here at Target Center. 85-65. Minnesota's led by as many as 22. As Hines-Allen is trying to bully Natisha Heidemann in the paint, but she somehow, is that a jump ball or is it a foul? Oh, it is going to be a foul, and they're having a little laugh about that as Heidemann is just trying hard. The Dallas Wings have been really trying to exploit their size advantage. And Heidemann, something about her, we know that she leads the WNBA in consecutive games played amongst active players. Very impressive for someone who has a smaller frame. And there are times when I watch a practice or a shoot-around where she is standing her ground against Nafisa Collier, posting her up. She packs so much strength into a smaller frame. But then Myisha Hines-Allen also is built like a freight train. So she is going to get the upper hand that time. First free throw is good. Second one as well. And Minnesota leads by 18, 85-67 with 4:45 to go as Jalen Sherrod turns on the Jets, finds Kosu, who will cut back door in the hands of Cleon Jakova, handing off to Sherrod, who slices through the paint. Kosu along the baseline forces herself in and leaves it off for Jessica Shepard for an easy two. The times that Kosu has been on the floor, she has looked composed, stayed within what Minnesota is asking her to do as she builds her game, her first season in the WNBA. Sherrod is going to be whistled for the foul against Kristen Williams. But when she stays within what Minnesota has set out for her to work on, what shots they want, how they want her to move, in what spots, good things are usually happening for Alori Kosu. So Dallas is in the bonus. So free throws the rest of the way with 4:23 to go. It'll be Kristen Williams shooting them right now. Minnesota playing without Kayla McBride, who is resting today, and Dejanay Carrington out as well. She started this game in McBride's place, sustained a shoulder injury in the second quarter, and not returning in this contest. Other headlines is Natisha Hiedeman with her first career double-double. Second free throw is good. Here's Hiedeman coming up the floor. 67-68 is Minnesota's lead as Hiedeman turns the corner, drops it off for Jessica Shepard. Shepard trying to throw her weight around, and that's going to be a jump ball coming up. It looked like Serena Sundell, who's just entered this game, was able to wrap her up. So Shepard and Sundell with this jump ball. It's Hiedeman, Kosu, Shepard, Sherrod, and Cleon Jakova in the game as Shepard wins it and chased down by Natisha Hiedeman. 10 seconds to shoot. She has Sundell on her, the rookie out of Kansas State. Gets into the paint, leaves it off for Sherrod for three. That is no good. Weak side rebound to Shepard. She keeps it alive on this possession. Going to work against Kristen Williams. Up and under and finishes. There's tremendous contact on that play as well. Kristen Williams trying to make that tough, and Shepard is able to put that up and in. In rhythm three for Kristen Williams. No good. Tipped around and secured by Cleon Jakova. Racing up the floor is Sherrod, leaving it for Hiedeman. Has that poked away, but into the hands of Kosu, who explodes towards the rim. Can't convert. And a rebound taken by Okonkwo. 89-68 is Minnesota's lead as Diamond Miller gets into the front court. Minnesota close to making it official, approaching 3 minutes left. Sherrod is actually slow to get up. Looks like she might be favoring her groin as she gets back. 3 minutes to play. She is still on the opposite side of the floor, clearly in some pain and walking uncomfortably. 89-68, Minnesota with the commanding lead. 3:03 to play as we step aside for a quick moment here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
For the Minnesota Lynx to create sustained separation, and they are cruising right now against the 9-31 Dallas Wings. 3:03 to play. 89-68 is Minnesota's advantage. Sloan Martin along with you here from Target Center. And the waning days of the regular season. Kayla McBride not playing in this game due to rest. Dejanay Carrington not returning either due to a shoulder injury sustained in the second quarter. She has not returned to the bench either. But Minnesota trying to finish the season strong. It is about how they are executing, most importantly, and getting different kinds of looks. And Coach Reed bringing in multiple reserves, including Cameron Taylor, who was just signed to a rest of season contract after she was a late addition to this team. She was at her home in Central Illinois, got a call on game day. Can you get to Target Center today? We need some extra help, because Jessica Shepard with an ankle injury was questionable on that day a couple weeks ago. So she has been around since. And now getting into the contest for the first time, Heidemann is still running the show here. Good to see Jalen Sherrod back. It looked like she was in some pain before. A post up here for Alari Kosu. And it's going to be an offensive foul on Kosu, using that off arm to hook her defender as she tried to turn the corner quickly along the baseline, and just that twirl in a short amount of space. Tisha Heidemann sitting at 17 points, second leading scorer for the Minnesota Lynx in this contest. As Berger will stomp on a dime, leaving for Amy Okonkwo, who's been pretty subdued in this second half. She'll set a screen for Diamond Miller. Miller with 8 seconds left, awkwardly to the rim, and it's going to be an offensive foul. Could have been a three-point play opportunity. She puts her head in her hands as she gets back on defense. 89-68 is Minnesota's lead. They had led by 10 points in the first 3 quarters of this game, but really took to this final quarter where just before that timeout, Minnesota doubling up the Wings, 18-9, as Kliundakova has it from the three-point line, puts it on the deck, trying to get the step against Okonkwo, and goes all the way. Just takes her right to the rim. Sprinting in transition is Miller, stepping around. That's no good. And the rebound ripped away by Kosu, battling hard on the glass. 91-68 is Minnesota's advantage against one of the poorest defensive teams in the WNBA. Off one foot from the elbow, no good by Heidemann. And it will be Dallas basketball. The Minnesota Lynx have scored at least 90 points in now 4 of their last 5 games. This is already the top-ranked offense in the WNBA, whether you look at points per game or offensive rating. Here's Amy Okonkwo letting it fly from 3. That is no good. And Minnesota on the other side, Alari Kosu scoring at the rim. More unselfish basketball by the Minnesota Lynx. Now they lead 93-68. This game has just gotten out of hand in Minnesota's favor. 1:25 to go as Kristen Williams gets a look inside against Cameron Taylor. Tries to put her head down and drive hard, and she is fouled. 2 free throws coming up. 5 seconds on the shot clock at the time of that foul. And with that Kosu bucket, now officially 10 assists for Natisha Heidemann. She was originally credited for one earlier. That was rescinded. It is now 10 assists. That sets a new career high for Natisha Heidemann, and also is the first double-double of her career. One of the greatest games she has ever played. Natisha Heidemann with 17 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 3 of 4 from long range. Those 10 assists and just 1 turnover today. She's also plus 28 in this game, which by far leads the Lynx. The next highest is Bridget Carleton at plus 15. So she has had a tremendous impact on this game. Her first career double-double, and setting a new career high with 10 assists. Minnesota turns it over. Amy Okonkwo barreling in, and Jalen Sherrod takes the charge. And that is quite the size difference between those two. Jalen Sherrod, even compared to Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann, is undersized compared to those two. So she stepped in and took the contact, because Amy Okonkwo has a really solid build and a lot of muscle. 93-69, Minnesota with the lead. This offense continues to hum, but Sherrod there is going to turn it over. Diamond Miller sprint the other direction. She'll get herself a fast break layup. Miller in her return to Minnesota, 12 points, 6 for 15 from the floor. 45 seconds to go before Minnesota can officially move to 19-2 this season. Men's basketball brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino, the exclusive casino partner of the Minnesota Lynx, as Natisha Heidemann continues to rain down here at Target Center. That's her 4th triple of this game, and she has got 20 points. Diamond Miller, no good from long range. Natisha Heidemann, we can really call this the greatest game of her career, and Minnesota can dribble things out here at Target Center. Natisha Heidemann will finish 4 points shy of her career high, gets her first career double-double, and Minnesota with its 32nd win this season. 96-71 is the dominant final against the Dallas Wings. Minnesota exploded in that 4th quarter to leave no chance of a comeback against this Dallas Wings team. Diamond Miller is talking with her former teammates out on the courts. Got a really warm welcome here at Target Center. Everybody walking away with smiles and some laughs in there. She made her return to Target Center. And Paige Becker is also meeting up with multiple members of the Minnesota Lynx, including this year's 3rd-round pick, her former UConn teammate, and Aubrey Griffin, who's been working behind the scenes to try and get healthy, missed this season with a knee injury, but Beckers has her arm around her very close. Here comes a hug from Napheesa Collier before she has to get in her spot for the slide. But clearly Beckers, who had about 36 family and friends in attendance, happy to be back here in Minnesota. But the Lynx handily take this one, 96-71. They outscored the Wings in that 4th quarter, 25-12. And Natisha Heidemann, you look at the second half that she had, 5 points in the 4th quarter, 10 points in the 3rd. That is 15 of her 20 points in the second half. When Minnesota had trouble pulling away from this Dallas Wings team, they really needed Natisha Heidemann in this game. Second leading scorer behind Napheesa Collier's 25 points in 23 minutes, by the way. 70% shooting, 7 for 10 from the floor. And Minnesota absolutely strong. Meeting up again with Napheesa Collier. 2 UConn greats chatting things up. 96-71 is Minnesota's win, as we are joined just a moment by Napheesa Collier. Fee, congratulations on this win. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Let's start with Natisha Heidemann and the second half that she had with 15 points. Gets her first career double-double, and how when Dejanay Carrington went out, she was really able to boost you guys in that second half.
Yeah, T stepped up to the plate. I mean, she had an amazing game. She was super dynamic, scoring from, getting to the rack, threes, distributing the ball, getting those assists. So she had an amazing game. That was great.
What was really the key, in your perspective, to pull away, especially in that 4th quarter against a Dallas team that seemed pretty pesky?
They were getting so many offensive rebounds. We were making them take tough shots, and we have to make sure that it's one and done with that, not giving them multiple opportunities.
This is an opportunity, Coach Reeve has talked about it through the stretch of this season, locking up that #1 seed to really make things bulletproof, to be as robust as possible in certain areas. How are you walking through that process yourself personally to be the best team possible in this remaining time left?
Just tightening things up. Definitely not getting complacent with our, first round lockup or first seed lockup, making sure that we are good, the best team that we can be going to the playoffs. So that means making sure that we're doing what we should on offense and defense.
And it's got to help too when you're able to get so many reserves into the game like you saw tonight, who are able to contribute, whether it's Jalen Sherrod or Alari Kosu as well.
Yeah, the bench is a huge part. I think the bench is the best part of a team. It's what makes you so dynamic, having that depth. And we have a really deep team, so I think that's what makes us so great.
Last one for me, Fee. When you look at this offense, you've scored 90-plus points in 4 of the last 5 games, and just how it's humming right now, shooting 55% in this game. How would you describe the connectivity that the team is playing with on that side right now?
We're getting good shots, putting people in places to be successful, not forcing anything up. So it feels like we're on a roll right now.
Napheesa Collier, thank you so much. Congrats on this win.
Thank you.
The final here from Target Center, 96-71, Minnesota, a dominant victory over the Dallas Wings. Before we go away, let's pause for a moment to allow our stations to identify themselves. When we come back, we'll have our post-game show right here on the Lynx Radio Network. We'll see if we can check into any post-game press conferences. I personally am very excited to see what Natisha Heidemann might have to say. Her first career double-double, just explosive in the second half. 15 of her 20 points coming in the second half as well. We're going to break this all down as well. Minnesota moving to 32-8 this season with a 96-71 victory. That and more coming your way here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
It's not what I thought the end would look like. There are no bodies in the streets, no burning cars, no hordes of zombies picking off survivors. It's more like the world went to sleep and never woke up.
Beware of the elephant.
It's the army. They got bunkers a mile underground.
I don't think it's the government.
Beware of the elephant.
I mean, you can't be 100% sure it's sleep, right? It's just so crazy.
If you start to get drowsy, you have to tell me. Got it? So if you're not off once, that's it. It's over. Dave! Are you sure you're okay? Dave!
Beware of the elephant. Beware of the elephant. Q-Code and Wood Elf present The Edge of Sleep.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
Shot clock is off. 9 seconds to go. Nikova comes to the high screen. Heidemann trying to save Kristen Williams. Sets herself up with a step-back three and rattles it home. An ultra-confident shot for Natisha Heidemann. 10 points in the third quarter as Hines Allen will heave at the buzzer. We head into the fourth, leading 71-59. The Minnesota Lynx with a late push courtesy of Natisha Heidemann and her electric scoring ability. 15 points for Natisha Heidemann with 7 assists as well, all on display here for the crowd here at Target Center. That was tonight's Mayo Clinic moment of excellence. At Mayo Clinic, we're doing what's never been done. A career evening for Natisha Heidemann, who secures the first double-double of her career. Had a 20-10 game. So not just any double-double, but a 20-10 double-double. She was just 4 points off of her career high. Outstanding today as Minnesota throttles the Dallas Wings 96-71. Sloan Martin back with you here for our post-game show here on the Lynx Radio Network from Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. Let's go over how this one started to develop. We'll go back to the first quarter where things were very close. Minnesota shot 50% from the floor, knocked in 3 threes in that first frame, but yet only held a 4-point lead heading into the second frame. That Minnesota was already really getting their engines going when it came to fast break points, because entering this contest, the Minnesota Lynx are second in the WNBA in fast break points per game, and Dallas allows the second most fast break points per game. So that's a pretty potent combination, and Minnesota was able to seize that, take advantage, and started pretty early on in that first quarter. After the second quarter, it was still pretty close between these two. Minnesota outscored the Wings just by 3 points, 23-20. They shot 57% in that second quarter. Napheesa Collier had 7 points, Courtney Williams with 5 points, and Maria Kliundakova with 5 points. Actually, Natisha Heidemann with 5 points in that second quarter as well. But they were not able to create a ton of separation against this Dallas Wings team that entered today losing 12 of their last 13 games and 7 in a row. At halftime, Minnesota led by only 48-41. They were outscored in the paint 26-12, but Minnesota was outscoring the Wings on the fast break 11-2. At halftime, Napheesa Collier already had 18 points in 15 minutes on 5 of 7 shooting. Also had 3 rebounds at that point as well, and that was another really great facet of this game is that really the starters and main players on this team were able to really limit their minutes because of how Minnesota ran away with things in the fourth quarter. But getting ahead of myself already, we move on to the third quarter. Minnesota was able to lead by as many as 12 points in that quarter alone, and Natisha Heidemann just went off 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, 2 for 2 from long range. And this is something that's not entirely surprising. I mean, her three-point percentage this season is 32%, but in her first 5 years with Connecticut, it was 39%. So we know what she is capable when it comes to shooting the ball from deep, and she was absolutely illustrating that in this game. A 10-point quarter for Natisha Heidemann in the third. Napheesa Collier with 7 points in that third quarter as well, and Minnesota started to pull away. They outscored the Wings by 5 in that frame, 23-18. And then heading to the fourth quarter, that was really when the wheels came off for the Dallas Wings, who were down 7 players due to injury, including Arike Egumbawale, who is actually averaging her lowest points per game of any year of her career, 15.5 points per game. Her previous low came in 2021. That was 18.7 points per game, had been over 20 points per contest the last 2 seasons, but she's out for a couple of weeks with knee tendonitis, and a whole lot of other players, including Louisa Geisel-Suter, who had been a regular rotation player for this team. So they're trying to do something without a whole lot here, including an emergency hardship signing in Kristen Williams. But they were able to be scrappy, keep things tough. But Minnesota just exploded in that fourth quarter. They outshot the Dallas Wings in that fourth frame. Dallas was 3 for 12 shooting. Minnesota 10 for 16. That's 63%. They had 7 assists on those 10 buckets, and then Natisha Heidemann picked up where she left off in that third quarter. Another 5 points for her, another 3 assists as well. Bridget Carleton had 6 points in the fourth quarter, and Minnesota was able to cruise to victory, even though it seemed like Dallas was really working to keep things interesting, at least sticking around just enough to be a menace. And then Minnesota just said, not tonight, and pulled away dramatically, outscoring the Wings in that fourth quarter 25-12 en route to this 96-71 victory. When it comes to points in the paint, Minnesota nearly equal with the Dallas Wings, who enter tonight 4th in the WNBA in paint points per game. And even more so than that, when you look at just their last 3 games, an average of 49 points per game in the paint. They had 60. That's a season high, and their loss to Connecticut on Wednesday. So they had really been making a living out of scoring at close range, and Minnesota was able to corral them in that second half especially. They did get 12 second chance points, but Minnesota outscores the Wings on the fast break 20-6. They were 8 of 10 in the opportunities they were able to generate. Minnesota as a team shoots 55%, nets 14 threes. Just a huge offensive explosion for this Minnesota Lynx team, and how they were able to just shoot incredibly well. They were 14 for 24 from 3. Bridget Carleton was 4 for 8, Napheesa Collier 4 for 4, Natisha Heidemann 4 for 5, and that all added up to one of the best shooting nights of the entire season for this Minnesota Lynx team. Still number 1 in points per game, still number 1 in offensive rating as well. Looking at the Dallas Wings, they hold them under 40% at 39% shooting, just 3 3-pointers compared to Minnesota's 14. Paige Beckers in her return to Minnesota, her second return, 17 points on 50% from the floor. Just one turnover for her in this contest. A couple more players in double figures. Also had Amy Okonkwo in just her first WNBA start, 5th game ever for the 29-year-old rookie, 12 points. And Maddie Segrest with 12 points as well. Diamond Miller also making her return with 12 points on 6 for 16 shooting, but she was a team worst, minus 29 in this game. Individually for the Minnesota Lynx, led by Nafisa Collier's 20th 20-point game this season, 7 for 10 shooting. Also a perfect 7 for 7 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 blocked shots as well. She had this absolutely incredible sequence where she blocked Maddie Segrest, who's about her size and length inside, 2 times on back-to-back attempts, just showing her dominance in protecting the rim for the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Behind her was Natisha Heidemann with 20 points and 10 assists, a career high in assists, and also her first career double-double. Congratulations to T. 7 for 13 shooting, 4 of 5 from long range. Also impressive with those 10 assists, just 1 turnover for Natisha Heidemann. An all-around, all-time game for Natisha Heidemann, who the Lynx have always known that they can count on to step up in so many different games whenever those opportunities are needed. She was plus 28 in this game. Courtney Williams, 15 points, 70% shooting for her. She had 9 assists, so she was close to her 4th double-double of the season, just 2 turnovers for Courtney Williams. And then Bridget Carlton had great moments in this game, too. 50% shooting from 3, 12 points for Bridget Carlton. The final 96-71 as we step aside for our final segment here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
At Mayo Clinic, we're conquering the unconquerable. Using artificial intelligence and data, our experts can create a personalized gene roadmap just for you, customizing your cancer treatment, giving your body exactly what it needs to fight the disease. We're making more possible at Mayo Clinic because every day we're doing what's never been done. Learn more at mayoclinic.org/possible. Mayo Clinic. You know where to go.
Looking to shoot your shot and score big, all while giving back to your community? Pilot Games is bringing entertainment with exciting electronic pull tabs to bars and restaurants across Minnesota. Every play is a shot at a jackpot and an assist to a local charity. It's entertainment with a purpose. So next time you're out, look for Pilot Games. Big wins, local impact, nothing but net. Learn more at pilotgames.com.
Center, the Minnesota Lynx with the win, a dominant one, a rout against the Dallas Wings, 96-71. Sloan Martin along with you, and for our final segment of our post-game show, I'll welcome in my partner here at the WNBA Tonight studios at Target Center, Alex Leibold. And Alex, it took really till that 4th quarter till Minnesota was able to officially and drastically pull away. But seeing performances up and down the lineup when they're playing without Kayla McBride, who was resting in this game, and then Dejanay Carrington didn't play the second half due to a shoulder injury, and she did not return. There's just a lot of highlight plays down the stretch as Minnesota was finally able to get to taking care of business.
Yeah, a great showcase of the depth that this Lynx team has. Natisha Heidemann coming off the bench and having, as you mentioned, probably the best game of her career. It was her second 20-point game to go with her career high 10 assists and a first double-double of her career. Those 10 assists from T accounted for 25 points, 5 coming inside of the 3-point line, and 5 of them coming from behind the 3-point line. So a very well-rounded all-around game for T, shooting 7 of 13 from the field. And I like to see Bridget Carlton sinking the threes. You had spoken to her before the contest, and we aired it during halftime about how she might need to shoot some more threes as Kayla McBride is sitting out with rest, and she did just that over the past 5 games. K-Mac has averaged 4 triples a game. BC comes in and shoots 4 of 8, all from 3-point range. So she filled the shoes that Kayla McBride has put up in these past few games, and that's a really great sign from Bridget Carleton. And yeah, Nafisa Collier just doing what she does best on any given day, 25 points, 7 of 10 shooting.
Yeah, and doing that in only 23 minutes at that. But you're right that this shows the value of the Lynx depth. And it sounds like head coach Cheryl Reeve is sitting down to talk to media here at Target Center.
Be a good team wanting to be a great team, passing up a good shot for a great one. Just how essential has T been to that over these last 2 years, and how it kind of came to fruition in this game for her today?
Yeah, I think what T's really evolved into that's really been helpful to us. We learned about each other last year, and then this year, trying to get her in these great spaces where she's just so fast in her ability to attack the rim, using that to be able to get easy scores, efficient scores, and then also when you get the help come, to be able to find shooters, and she did that for us. She was, really locked in, playing early in the offense. So I was really, really happy for T. Career high in assists, and also the first double-double of her career. Obviously, it came at a good time when we lost Nay. So we didn't have much going perimeter-wise. We were a little small against their kind of a big lineup that they were playing. But T just fought tooth and nail. And Courtney had a good floor game as well with 9 assists. So those 2 players getting 19 of our, what do we have, 29 assists. Pretty impressive.
And part of it might just be because of K-Mac resting, but early in the game, got to see Fee out there in lineups with like Lan and Jess.
Yeah.
Is part of this stretch where you already have the 1 seed locked up. Is it kind of like a chance to sort of see Fee in some of those bigger lineups and what she might be able to do swinging down to the 3 next to.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, we've done that periodically throughout the season, but, being down a perimeter player is what sort of, prompted us to make the slide. We'll get some good stuff on video, see what it looks like and, what some of the challenges were, if there were any on the offensive end. We just don't do it a lot. And so I think, more reps could be helpful to them. We just kind of sprung it on them today. We didn't necessarily go into the game thinking we were, gonna, be playing with that lineup, but they handled it well.
Cheryl, is there an update on Carrington and how did that happen?
Yeah, Nay has a subluxed shoulder. She told me she played defense too hard, and I think when she kind of slapped down on the ball, it subluxed a little bit. I don't have an update as far as, I just know this is, something that she deals with, and so. Whatever they deemed, her and Chuck, decided, for her not to return. But I don't know where we're at with things. Yep.
I feel like we're kind of running out of adjectives for Fee, but 25 points on 7 of 10 shooting. I mean, what can you say about her tonight?
Efficient. That's what Fee does. I thought we had her in good spaces. I thought her pace, her recognition of what was open, obviously making threes. And we want to make sure she's getting, threes up. And so I thought, she was locked in on when the defense was over helping off of her, cashed in on those. And then, just other Fee-like things, with her activity. This is what she does.
Yeah, that about sums it up. This is what she does. And even night in and night out, it is hard to find the words to describe the kind of greatness she is playing with this season as an MVP candidate. 25 points on 70% shooting. She was perfect from 3-point range, perfect from the free throw line. Also 3 rebounds as well, moving into 4th all-time in Lynx franchise history in career points for the Minnesota Lynx, surpassing Sylvia Fowle. So a special night for her, too, a special night for, of course, Natisha Heidemann and her teaming up with Courtney Williams, how they really commanded this game. The final here against the Dallas Wings, 96-71, outscoring the Wings 25-12 in that 4th quarter. Alex, let's look ahead for the Minnesota Lynx, because after tonight, this one's officially in the books, 4 regular season games left, starting with a 3-game road trip at Las Vegas. And this is the one one where I think everybody's going to be watching extremely closely here. The Las Vegas Aces are currently sitting on a 12-game win streak. They have 8 games to prepare for this team. And by the way, this game is going to be at T-Mobile Arena, which is where the Golden Knights play. So a larger arena than their usual Michelob Ultra Arena. And I think there's going to really be some edge in this game because the last time these two teams met, Minnesota demolished the Aces. The largest win on the road in WNBA history, 53 points, the second largest win in WNBA history, period. You wonder about, are voters going to be looking at the MVP voting aspect of this game? And Minnesota's coming for the Aces all-time single-season wins record as well. That was 34 in 2023. But I think most important here, Alex, is that the Aces last played August 27th, which I think is significant looking at this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, this one, if you are going to watch one game the entire season, I think this would be the one to watch. Like you said, 12-game win streak for the Las Vegas Aces. That win streak started after that blowout win that the Lynx had, 111-58 on Las Vegas's home floor. So like you said, chip is definitely going to be on the shoulder of A'ja Wilson and her fellow Las Vegas Aces teammates. And this 12-game win streak coincides with just how well A'ja Wilson has played as she tries to, usurp Napheesa Collier in the favorite for the MVP. Over these past 12 games, A'ja Wilson's averaged just about 27 points and 13 rebounds per game, along with amassing 18 steals and 24 blocks over those 12 games. So she's really turned on the Jets for this late push for the playoffs, especially as the Aces are trying to get as high as they can in this playoff picture. They're matching up pretty much with the Atlanta Dream and Phoenix Mercury, almost level on record. They're a half game ahead of those two in the standings, so I'm sure they would love to be the number 2 seed just as much as those other two teams would be. And this is just going to be such a fun game, as you mentioned, at the Las Vegas Knights Arena. So more people will be in the house. There will definitely be a playoff-like feel to it. And as you said, 8 days off. Haven't played since last Wednesday. Don't play again until Thursday. I don't know if I've ever seen something like that. We saw earlier the Lynx had 5 days off in between 2 games against the Liberty. We've seen some few teams. I think the Chicago Sky had about 6 days off in between the times that the Lynx had played them in the past this season. So it's an interesting little caveat to the schedule, how much rest these teams are going to be getting in between their games. It should be a fun one for the Lynx. I mean, the Lynx get a few days off in between now and then, but still the Aces are going to be fresh and ready to go. They're going to want to punch the Lynx in the mouth, just like the Lynx really used them as a rag doll back on August 2nd when they won by 53.
They're tied with the Atlanta Dream after tonight at 6 games back, or at least at this point, 6 games back of the Minnesota Lynx. So both of them jostling. Then you have the Phoenix Mercury, a half game behind them, separating themselves from the New York Liberty. What's interesting about the Aces, before we sign off here, Alex, is that their point differential for the season is 1.1 points per game. That is, 9th in the WNBA. Sorry, make that 8th. That is 8th in the WNBA. And I think point differential is something significant to look at. How are you winning games? So that is very interesting. The Minnesota Lynx, by comparison, have a positive point differential of 10.2 after tonight. The final here at Target Center, 96-71. The Minnesota Lynx with another victory over the Dallas Wings. They sweep this season series, improve to 32-8 this season. The Dallas Wings and Paige Beckers fall to 9-32 this season. As we look ahead down the home stretch, 4 games left for the Minnesota Lynx in this regular season. For Alex Leibold, I'm Sloan Martin. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you in a couple days right here on the Minnesota Lynx Radio Network.
Find your iHeartRadio everywhere. There are hundreds of ways to experience iHeartRadio at home and on the go, beyond the iPhone and Android app and at iHeartRadio.com. Here's another way to connect to iHeartRadio. Amazon Fire TV supports iHeartRadio with a beautiful big screen display while you enjoy your favorite music, radio stations, and podcasts. Make sure you link your iHeartRadio account and use voice controls for easy navigation between content on iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio on the big screen is easy to control from the remote or with voice controls, and it provides large cover art on the screen and can sync with your iHeartRadio account for seamless listening between your devices. Your iHeartRadio music, radio stations, and podcasts now on your big screen TV with Amazon Fire TV and the Fire Cube. Check it out for free now. iHeartRadio. Anywhere you want to listen, iHeartRadio is there.
You've been listening to Lynx Basketball, brought to you by U.S. Bank, an official partner of the Minnesota Lynx, equal housing lender, member FDIC, and by Mayo Clinic. You know where to go. This has been a presentation of the Lynx Radio Network.
105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Washington Post. He is on Twitter at Jason Lockenfora. It is Jason Lockenfora. Jay, what's happening, man? How are you?
Boy, I'm doing better than Bill Belichick. That's for damn sure.
Well, didn't you say, hey, take TCU in the over? I thought I saw that. Was that what your advice earlier? Did I have that? Was that you? Was it?
I didn't have a lot on this game. I did lean to TCU money line, but it wasn't. I just kind of wanted to check it out. You know, I didn't want to let the past sort of affect me one way or the other. I just wanted to check out this operation for a few weeks.
Well, what do you think tonight? What do you see? What do you see tonight from this game?
I see hot garbage. I mean, I see. I mean, it's failure across the board here. You know, whatever Freddie Kitchens scripted the first drive was cute and effective, but right now it looks like a lot of guys who, you know, the NFL kind of didn't want much to do with, right? They didn't want anything to do with Bill Belichick. They didn't want anything to do with Steve Belichick. They didn't want much to do with Freddie Kitchens, certainly not in a role like this. And they're getting absolutely humiliated here in prime time at home. Like, you know, a TCU program that's a solid program, but come on. This isn't a juggernaut. It might be a long season, man. I don't want to go too crazy about one game, but these are not guys who are accustomed to getting. They're accustomed to humiliating other people. Like, I just wish there's no way I'm making it up through this game. I'm too old for this. But like, God, can we just fast forward to Belichick? You know, post game. Like, I mean, is he going to like? Does he think he can get away with that same crap? I mean, you've never won anything at this level, Hoss. And you're getting absolutely destroyed. Like, we'll see if he thinks he can get away with that, you know, obstinate, rude, just sort of obfuscating crap that he pulled whenever he lost in the NFL.
He's on to Charlotte.
Well, yeah, that line is guarantee is a work in progress. That line is a moving. I mean, jeez, I don't know. I mean, they better beat Charlotte, bro.
Or Richmond or UCF or... I mean, the thing is, Jay, is that it's gone from the first drive of the game, which has been, hey, Belichick's going to the playoff. This is awesome, too. And I really, because of all the drama, what went on in the offseason, like, you lose like this to TCU, and obviously you're setting the tone for a season where you wonder, how long does he have? Like, does he have more than a season to win? Does he have two? Yeah, like, what does he have?
Right. I mean, like, look, this whole, like, these aren't, the idea of a recruiting class, like, that's hilarious. That's passe, right? You're recruiting them second to second, minute to minute. Like, you know, whatever allure he had, because of what he did at the NFL level, if this is any indicator of what's to come, that buy-in's going to leave. The best kids that you have there are going to want to go elsewhere. The ones you didn't play are going to want to go elsewhere. You have to be ready to be a shapeshifter every year. And at this stage of his life, man, oh man, you know, I just don't know. Like, you got to get a whole nother group. Maybe it won't be 70 like this year, but 50-something kids to come and hitch their wagon to a dude who then is, 74 years old or whatever? I don't know, man. Like I said, you better beat Charlotte. You better beat Charlotte. Like, you better figure on that one out, Hoodie, because you don't beat Charlotte. Holy moly.
Looking ahead, by the way, there's somebody on the show who might or might not be a Syracuse fan, and Halloween night, Syracuse is hosting this North Carolina team. He will be on the air directly after the show with, I'm sure, much to say. North Carolina probably has about 3 months to get it together before they face rival Duke, because that's looking like the only big game on the schedule this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, Syracuse was interesting. Like, they moved the ball on what I think is a pretty good Tennessee defense. Way more than I thought they would. But yeah, defensively, they're gonna have to clean some things up defensively. But yeah, I think everybody in the ACC is going to look pretty live against these dudes if they don't. They're already on to their second quarterback. Like, we'll see.
Jason Lock and for NFL Insider, our guest. All right, so as we segue away from Belichick and North Carolina, who just lost another fumble, and now TCU is going to have the ball in North Carolina territory.
Red zone.
I'm going to ask you both this. I was going to say this, but I'll do it right now. What do you think is, just to give, what do you think is the worst loss of Bill Belichick's career? Worst loss by losing by the most points-wise. What's the worst loss?
Just margin?
Yeah, just margin-wise. What do you think it is?
I mean, it can't be. This has got to be pretty damn close. I mean, at the NFL level, did he lose by 30? I mean, did he lose by 30 more than once? I don't know, 27 points, something like that. I don't know, 28.
The Patriots lost 38-3 to the Cowboys in October of 2023. That's the worst loss he had, 35 points. And now here we are right now, midway through the third quarter, and we're already there. Right? Like, I mean, we are already there for Belichick. This could wind up being, not only this debut, this could wind up being the worst loss of his coaching career, which is like, you think about how things have changed from that opening drive, just from that. It's insane. So, all right, let's get to the NFL now. Obviously, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, they're trying to move on after Micah Parsons. And, I think the most interesting thing this weekend, Jay, was it didn't, not that it's, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows for the Cowboys, because you let go of the best defensive player in the NFL. You do it right before the season. But it doesn't seem like, and I don't think that Dak Prescott and some of the other guys are putting this on. It doesn't seem like the locker room misses Micah Parsons. I mean, they'll miss what he does on the field, but it doesn't seem like, from what we've heard and what they've talked about him being a distraction, his podcast, it doesn't seem like they really miss his presence all that much.
All right, well, let's talk around this time Thursday night.
Okay.
let's table that discussion till around 11 Eastern on Thursday night, and we'll see. We'll see if they're tap dancing and doing the moonwalk because Micah's not there anymore. If that is in fact going on, I think they're in for a long season. Now, I readily admit I think they were in a long season with him as well. We can certainly argue about what he did or didn't do in the playoffs, what they did or didn't do in the playoffs while he was on their roster. Does he elevate people in January? I would still say, boy, it's a small sample. And a lot of those teams weren't really built for January success. But if you want to make the case, well, he's about to become a $45, $50 million player, so you have to factor that in. Okay. Like, the Dallas Cowboys you're right, they weren't winning with him, but they're not really winning with anybody. They're not built to win. They're not constructed to win. They're not able to win when it really matters. But I certainly think he made their football team better. I mean, I have a hard time believing if there is an argument being made out there that now because there's better camaraderie, they're going, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're trying to sell in their locker room or at the ownership level or shoddy. But I think they're going to suffer. I think they're going to suffer quite a bit.
Do you you have an idea of what Parsons' first season with Green Bay might be like now that we get the stories of he was getting back treatment before the deal to Green Bay and now back treatment still? And I know it's a long-term contract, but joint sprain in the back, what do you think of his first season for Green Bay?
Well, look, I guarantee you that they gave him as robust a physical as anybody's going to get for that franchise. No, that's been fairly judicious about what it does, spending on other teams' players. To invest that in someone who's never played it down for them, I think their medical staff is obviously very, very comfortable with whatever's going on with Micah Parsons. And that's not to say that people don't miss things sometime or whatever, but he's been a pretty durable player. He's been a pretty effective player. You know, I think Green Bay got a lot better. And I think Dallas got a lot worse. And we could you know what I mean? We could try to thread different needles and talk ourselves into, we can navel gaze and we can try to get into the abstract. And if, again, you want to sell me on Cowboys culture, you can. Their culture sucked forever. So, do I think that this departure is going to make it markedly better? I don't, because I think they're going to be trailing by 3 scores at the half, way more than they'd like. And I think that tends to fray your locker room and fray your leadership. I think they're a group of independent contractors, and he wanted to be paid as the highest of them all. And at the end of the day, it got personal between him and the old man. So the old man didn't want to give it to him. But yeah, they weren't going anywhere with him, and they're really going nowhere without him.
All right, lastly, Jay, news today, the Rams expect Matthew Stafford, who missed a lot of time in camp with an aggravated disc in his back, to start the season opener against the Texans. Now, the Rams, another terrific year, expecting a lot. But here's Stafford nearing the end. Back injury kept him out. What's your level of concern for Stafford, the Rams, right now?
Yeah, I talked about wanting to see this UNC thing before I invested in it. I do like the Rams. I'm holding a fair amount of Rams futures tickets. I purchased them a long time ago. I purchased them a long time before spring, before, he was missing important stuff in the summer. Look, they've got a backup there they feel pretty good about. I'll be fascinated to see if there are times through this season if, they're kind of keeping Stafford in bubble wrap or whatever. What kind of precautions they might take with this. I think they built a heck of a roster. I think the defense showed you in the second half of the season, people who are really paying attention, what it can do. I think Devontae Adams, if the quarterback is playing, if a quarterback is playing who's any good, I think he's going to have a monster season. I think they've made adjustments to their run game. I've talked to Sean McVay about it. I think they're going to be more dynamic and more diverse in what they try to run. I think they'll be more successful running the football. That's a good football team. I think it's one of the, if you're telling me Stafford's mostly healthy, I think that's a top 3 team in the NFC. But he's had his share of injury issues. He's taken a lot of hits over the years. He's nearing the end. So, but they might be required to get a little creative in how they navigate him through the season.
He's on Twitter at Jason Lockenfor. That is at Jason Lockenfor. Hey, real quick. So if I said your Super Bowl team right now, your preseason, where things sit, who's your pick?
I like Green Bay, Baltimore. I liked it before Parsons. I bought those tickets before that trade. So, that's where I am.
All right, there it is. Again, get more from Jason Lockenfor on Twitter at Jason Lockenfor, Washington Post, Odyssey, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Jay, thanks a bunch, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. We have real games to break down.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
Go Cowboys.
All right. With the iHeartRadio app, you can stream us whenever you happen to be. Catch us and all our Fox Sports Radio shows live 24/7 in the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Just search Fox Sports Radio in the app to stream us live all day, every day. And be sure to select Fox Sports Radio as one of your presets in the iHeart app, so it'll always pop up at the top of your screen. Time now to find out what's trending in the wide world of sports. And clearly, as we all have seen it or watch it on TV today, nothing more shocking than the grand slam and triple from Juan Soto as he leads the Mets by the Tigers. Steve DeSager has more on that story right now with what's trending.
By the way, can I ask, since it was a holiday and maybe some people saw the Mets broadcast on MLB Network, isn't it? It's just a lesser broadcast when it's only Keith Hernandez. Do you agree with me on that?
Oh, yeah. The booth. I mean, look, there's a reason why that's the best booth in Major League Baseball. It's all three of them.
Not
it's Cohen,
today.
it's Darling. No, but it's Cohen and Darling and Keith, and it's the best. It's been the best. Like, that's one thing I can say, and you can't argue. That's the best booth in baseball. But, yeah, when it's just Keith.
Steve, we almost shared a elevator with Keith Hernandez.
That's
Jason and I.
And
we can't tell that story on air.
I could tell it quick, but that's the most. I'll tell you this. That's the most excited I've ever seen Frostberg in my life when we almost shared an elevator with Keith Hernandez.
Because he's a big Seinfeld fan?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The lines he was going to say to him. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I'll tell you that story in a few minutes.
And then there was going to be accidental spittle, and you'd have to reenact the whole thing. And
sure, there would be a second spitter. There's lots of things.
Bring in Kramer,
yeah.
Exactly.
He was going to say, "Nice game, pretty boy." Yeah.
Let's update the college football game at North Carolina. The Tar Heels are in the end zone. Okay, so it doesn't going to mean much. Yeah, it's 41-13 now. TCU is leading at North Carolina. Extra point pending. We have about 30 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yeah, but North Carolina's going to go for 30 on this play. That's the thing. Yeah, they go for 30.
By the way, AP points out that the Tar Heels program has not lost by 30 points or more to an unranked team since 2008 when they lost to Russell Wilson and NC State 41-10. Right now, if the extra point's good, it's going to be 41-14, TCU in the lead at North Carolina. Final minute of the third period. North Carolina now does have more than 100 yards of offense following that great first drive. They went straight down the field to open this game. 7 plays, 83 yards, and in about 4 minutes took a 7-0 lead. Hadn't scored again until just now. In fact, their starting quarterback, Gio Lopez, his last completed pass was at 8:12 Eastern Time, and over 2 hours later, he completed another pass. Wow.
Hey, that's consistent, Steve. He will complete a pass every 2 hours, whether you think he's going to or not. Yes.
Yeah, well, give it another 2 hours, there will literally be nobody in the stadium because half of the people have taken off at this point. Gio Lopez with 1 interception, 1 fumble. TCU is just dominating. I can't believe how night and day this game is after the first drive. Dominating at North Carolina, 41-14. Rams.
Well, really, the first drive, North Carolina was great. This previous drive, North Carolina was great. Now, everything in the middle, okay, it's a little bit different. But that first drive and this drive, everything's great.
Everything in between, they got outscored 41-0. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford with the bad back is expected to start the opener Sunday against the Texans. Micah Parsons, defensive end, was limited in his first practice at Green Bay with a bad back. Naomi Osaka beat Coco Gauff at the U.S. Open in a 4th-round match in straight sets. A win tonight for Amanda Anisimova of the U.S. WNBA wins for Atlanta and Minnesota. To Major League Baseball, the Mets won 10-8 at Detroit. Philadelphia won 10-8 at Milwaukee. Cincinnati, with 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth, beat Toronto 5-4. Toronto had just scored 3 runs in the top of the ninth. There's only 1 ball game still going. At the Diamondbacks, Arizona 5-3 over Texas in the top of the ninth inning. The Cubs in 10 edged Atlanta 7-6. Washington ended an 8-game losing streak, shutting out Miami 2-0. Back to you.
Thank you, Steve-O. Jason Smith, Steve DeSager in for Mike Harmon. Coming up next, well, the 2 biggest stories in sports this weekend, Bill Belichick's debut, which is not going well, and Arch Manning's Texas debut on Saturday, which somehow went even worse. Why? Well, if you listen to the show Friday, yes, Arch Manning's debut is all my fault. We'll tell you why coming up next. Jason Smith, Steve DeSager in for Harmon. This is Fox.
We all love a bell and bells.
bells?
Yes.
Bell of the ball?
Yes, of course.
Bells on a ball? Bells in a ball.
What?
And of course, a bell notification. Let's go. So hit that bell on our Fox Sports Radio YouTube page. Fox Sports Radio, YouTube. Wait for it. Bell notification. Hit it now.
Do it! The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because they're a school for real life. At UMGC, an accredited state university, you can earn up to 90 credits towards a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. UMGC offers skill-based programs, low-cost tuition, and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
iHeartRadio presents Stuff You Should Know.
What's the Doomsday Clock, Josh?
So the Doomsday Clock is a metaphorical clock that is overseen by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. It's a graphic representation of how close humanity is to self-inflicted disaster.
They moved the second hand on the clock forward to 89 seconds to midnight, which means it's the closest that clock has ever been to midnight since they started.
In 1947, when the U.S. and Russia were starting the Cold War, it was 7 minutes to midnight. We're now less than 2 minutes away from midnight. The furthest away it was from midnight was 1991, after the Soviet Union dissolved. It was all the way back from 17 minutes to midnight.
I think it's a valuable thing because it just raises awareness every year with people. Just another thing to kind of say, hey, like, we're not headed in the right direction as humanity goes.
All these things that have been developing for a while have been accelerated because of the threat multiplier of misinformation and disinformation and conspiracy theories.
For the entire Doomsday Clock episode and everything else in the Stuff You Should Know universe, open the free iHeart app, search Stuff, and listen now.
Unsettled weather continues across parts of the Central Plains and along the Gulf Coast from Florida through southern Texas, with locally heavy rain and some isolated flash flooding possibly, while a strong cold front is bringing a notable colder air mass into the northern plains and Midwest. Showers and storms across portions of Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Storms are likely to contain downpours, which raise the concern for localized flash flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas. Temperatures across the area will also continue to run 10 to 15 degrees below normal over the next few days. In contrast, in the Pacific Northwest into Wednesday, it looks like a multi-day heat wave. High temperatures pushing well into the 90s and low 100s across parts of eastern Washington and northern Idaho. Some monsoon action happening around the Four Corners over the next few days. And the northern plains and upper Midwest will see temperatures plummeting 15 to 25 degrees below normal by Wednesday. That's your national forecast. I'm Monica Nelson.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Southern Rock Ride. The greatest Southern rock hits from the 70s and 80s. Skinner, 38 Special, Allman Brothers, and more. Open the free iHeartRadio app, search Southern Rock Ride, and listen now. Free never sounded so good.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
1971. It was a simpler time, a groovy time. Soul Train had just started chugging along. Everyone had a lava lamp for some reason. Weeble started to wobble, but as we all know, they don't fall down. It's really something. But it wasn't all Weebles and bell-bottoms. There was also the Vietnam War and a growing nationwide movement protesting it.
Look behind you. See the thousands marching today.
Across the country, people were speaking up, and the more they did, the more they learned about the hidden underbelly of the most powerful law enforcement agency in the land. I'm Ed Helms, host of Snafu, Season 2, Medberg. The story of a daring heist that exposed J. Edgar Hoover's epic FBI snafu. Hear the incredible true story that almost got buried.
I was told that it might not be published the next day or might not be published ever.
As told by the ordinary citizens who took extraordinary measures.
Getting caught was virtually inevitable.
To expose J. Edgar Hoover's secret FBI.
Many of the techniques were clearly illegal, but justified in the interest of national security.
If it meant some risks that were involved, well, that's what citizens sometimes have to do.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
We are Sports is on FS1. The one and only Colin Cowherd is bold, unique, and outspoken. Wow. You can see him on The Herd, weekdays at noon Eastern on FS1 in the Fox Sports app.
Fox Sports Radio, the Jason Smith Show with Steve DeSager in for Mike Harmon. If you miss any of tonight's show, you want to catch the podcast, just search Jason Smith and Mike Harmon wherever you get your podcast. Right after the show, today's podcast gets posted. Be sure to follow, rate it 5 stars. You can even provide a review. Again, just search Jason Smith and Mike Harmon wherever you get your podcast. You'll find today's full show and a best of version posted right after the end of the show. So we'll have more on what is happening or not happening. Well, it's happening in Chapel Hill right now. Early in the fourth quarter, a North Carolina touchdown has cut TCU's lead to 41-14. So we'll have more on this game as Bill Belichick is screaming at the referees now. Things are getting a little out of control in North Carolina. We'll have more on this coming up in a few minutes. But look, clearly 2 big stories this weekend in college football, right? We watched what's happening right now to Bill Belichick and Arch Manning and his less than stellar debut with Texas on Saturday. 7 points for the Longhorns. They fall to Ohio State 14-7. And by any of it, however you want to slice it, this was a bad game by Arch Manning, right? You can say he's got time to learn and the second half was better than the first. And yes, it was, but still only 7 points. But however you cut this up, he was bad, right? Just going to look at that third down throw on the final drive. You're saying, oh, yeah, what was that? How do you miss that? What are you talking? Like that throw, it typifies the entire game for Arch Manning. And this is where it's on us, Steve, because we were on the air Friday night and we talked about this going in. And I said, it's my fault. Like, it's my fault. Austin hates me. You're right, Frostberg. Austin hates me. Because what did I say? What if Arch Manning sucks? Like, that's not even. You had to put it out there. It's not even been a topic. Like, he's going to succeed. He's like Eminem in 8 Mile. Success is my only blank option. Failure's not, right? What if he sucks? He has been the poster boy for college football the offseason. He has been the national story that was going to cut through and save the nationality of college football. That story, he's going to be the coast-to-coast story, right? Not a college football is so regional. He's going to be the guy. And he was just not good. Like, what if he sucks? And this is a narrative that's going to stay out here, Steve, for the next better part of the rest of the month because they have 3 walkover games until they get to their next good one. So this is a narrative that's going to be out there for a while with Arch Manning.
But I'll repeat what we said on the Friday show. He was going against an elite defense in Ohio State. So there was a chance that somebody getting his first opening day start with Texas was going to be made to look bad because they made a lot of offenses look bad last year. I know it's not the exact same roster this year and seemingly, boatloads of guys go to the NFL year after year off that roster, but I don't know how many elite defenses like that he's going to see this season. Boy, did he see them last weekend.
Well, but here's the thing, though, is that, I get it. Ohio State's good, but if you're a really good player, you still play well in those games, right? He did
not play well, but I'm saying to only score, even if, they had scored on the 4th and goal, for example, even if they had finished with 14 points in the game. A ton of opponents had only about 14 points against Ohio State last year.
Yeah, but this is Texas. This is the #1 team in the country. This is not like Arch Manning decided to go to Syracuse and it's they're not going to match up. And
put it this way,
if they'd had Texas, man,
if they'd had Jaden Blue on 4th and goal, I think they would have scored that touchdown. But he's not at Texas anymore.
Now, if they had Ricky Williams, they would have scored on that 4th and goal. But no, I see your point.
And many other times.
But that's the thing is that, yeah, I get that this wasn't a game where, hey, he goes for 350 and 4 touchdowns. No, I understand that. But you look at some of the other quarterbacks playing against really good teams, and still they moved their teams up and down the field, right? Still, Cade Klubnik still moved the team a little bit, even though there weren't points on the board. You know, you were looking in Notre Dame, where Carr moved Notre Dame up and down the field. Like, you saw this, and Carson Beck in his first game. Like, you saw some of the other top quarterbacks in tough games have decent games. And Julian Sayin just had an okay game too, but, you know, they didn't really ask him to do a lot, but it was still, you know, not a great game from Ohio State's perspective. But this is Arch Manning and the number one team in the country. And, you know, he's got some dudes on the offensive line, and yeah, he's got some new receivers, but I expected better than that, because how many throws did he just miss?
Yes.
Like, this is not like, hey, here's some coverages, he got confused. Like, there's throws that he just has to make, and he didn't get. He looked nervous in the beginning of the game, and while, yes, it did get a little bit better for him, I mean, come on, 7 points, Steve. I mean, to number one team in the country, you can't. I don't care if you're on the road at Ohio State. If you're playing in Antarctica on a glacier, you got to score more than 7 points.
They laid an egg. There's no two ways about it. And it wasn't just the bad result for the team. It was the nuts and bolts of quarter to quarter, the quarterback that they're relying on for the full season just not making the play. They didn't need him to be superstar, and especially in a low-scoring game, they didn't. But there were, I think the screen pass that you're talking about late in the game is a really good example. They just need a starting quarterback to complete that pass. Give us a chance.
But again, I need to take responsibility, because this was my fault. Like, I brought this up. What if he sucks? And look what happened. Like, that's my fault. That's my fault. That's on me.
Can they play North Carolina next? Can we do that to the schedule?
Yeah, that flexible scheduling, Steve. I think we're going to get to college football soon. More on the biggest, most shocking story of the night next. This is Fox.
We are Fox.
NFL fans, week 1 is your shot to play free and stack $1 million cash bag with DraftKings Pick 6, an official partner of the NFL. Here's how. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, DraftKings' easiest way to play fantasy. Enter for free and pick more or less on 6-player stats for week 1. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use code JSS, opt in for free, and start stacking entries for NFL week 1. Zero cost, huge upside, in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. Must claim token for free entry in Bag Builder contest. Only perfect entries earn share of cash prize. Tokens are single use and expire September 8th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Bon Jovi will release a re-recorded version of their 2024 album Forever. The new edition will feature Bruce Springsteen, Avril Lavigne, Lainey Wilson, and Jelly Roll, among others. Frontman John Bon Jovi explained that the vocal demands at the time were slightly out of reach for him, so he called up other great singers, artists, and musicians to help him. Forever Legendary Edition will be out on October 24th. Back on top at the U.S. box office this Labor Day weekend is the thriller Weapons.
It's a bona fide big hit. The horror movie starring Josh Brolin and Julia Garner is back at number 1 in its 4th week in theaters.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
Where are our children? It's expected Weapons will earn a total of nearly $134 million before the long weekend is over. And at number 2, a re-release of Jaws.
You're going to need a bigger boat. That's a 20-footer. 25.
In celebration of the classic's 50-year anniversary, it's expected to bring in around $9 million. I'm Scott Carr.
A Tina Turner-inspired children's book is set to be published by Penguin Shop early next year. Just Like Tina, inspired by the life of Tina Turner, is a picture book about the singer. Just Like Tina will be published on January 27th, 2026. That's entertainment. I'm Jacqueline Carl.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Hi, we're not here right now, but we'll call you back if you leave your name and number.
If you aren't of the age to remember,
Hi, Dad.
the answering machine was a physical audio recorder that plugged into your phone line.
Hi, Dad. This is Aaron.
You couldn't call into it remotely. You had to wait till you got home to check your messages.
Yeah, America's produced like lots and lots of stuff. Just piles of stuff. The fact of the matter is all day long, every day, there are warehouses full of stuff getting just pushed off a cliff. All day, every day.
Betsy Ann Nagoski, who runs the Canary Records label.
A friend of mine said that what he loves is being the guy standing at the edge of the cliff, waving his arms, going, wait, no, let me look at those first before you throw them away. I think there might be some good stuff in there. I think there might be some stories. I don't think we should throw all those away yet.
We have a season, 10 episodes of stories from that realm, of things that were just barely saved, and in some cases, not saved at all. A bizarre tale of two infamous New Yorkers.
They booby-trapped their home and turned it into a sealed fortress of ephemera.
A missing chapter of American music history.
There hasn't been a guess culturally that they matter. So they get thrown in the garbage.
A decade's worth of original television lost to the airwaves.
It's over. It's ephemeral. You're going to see something else the next second and nobody's ever going to see it.
A piece of music that's defied convention for 70 years.
I had students write down the sounds they heard during it, and one girl said, I never realized there was so much to listen to.
And what could only be called an audio mystery.
It said nothing on it, and it clearly had been recorded, which intrigued me. What is this going to be?
These stories and more given new life, if only for a glimpse. Is this podcast a piece of ephemera in the making? A forgotten story about forgotten stories? Only time will tell. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and learn more at ephemeral.show.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
We are Fox Sports. What you need to know.
The college debut of Coach Bill Belichick not going well at North Carolina. TCU has just forced a third turnover and leads 41-14 at North Carolina with under 12 minutes to play. The Tar Heels had a great opening drive, took a quick 7-0 lead, and have barely scored since. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford with a bad back is expected to start the opener Sunday. Defensive end Micah Parsons was limited at his first practice at Green Bay. He has a joint sprain in his back. To baseball, in the late ball game, 2 runs in the top of the 9th for Texas to tie it up 5-5 at Arizona. It's now bottom of the 9th inning. Tampa Bay beat Seattle 10-2. Houston 8-3 over the Angels. Baltimore won at San Diego 4-3. Padres reliever Jason Adams suffered a ruptured quad tendon. The idle Dodgers first in the NL West, now 2.5 games over the Padres. Wins for the Mets, Phillies, and the Cubs, who won in 10 innings. I'm Steve DeSager.
Get ready for this. Departure frequency, Roger. This is the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Look at the money that I'm making on this.
You know where this is going, Jason Smith and Mike Harmon.
You can make fun of it if you want.
You're listening to the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Lights out. That's what this is.
And here they are.
What's going on?
Live from the Fox Sports Radio studios. Here's Jason Smith. And sitting in for Mike Harmon, Steve DeSager.
Greetings. Welcome inside Hour 2. Happy Labor Day night. The Jason Smith Show with special delivery. Steve DeSager in for Mike Harmon. Hey, be sure to check out our brand new YouTube channel for the show. Just go to youtube.com/@JasonSmithShow. That's youtube.com/@JasonSmithShow. Or if you're already within YouTube, just search Jason Smith Show. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and don't stop there. Hit that thumbs up icon and comment away. Let us know which of us has the better takes. I mean, it's going to be me, of course, but let us know. Go check out our brand new channel on YouTube. Again, just search Jason Smith Show and subscribe. Right now, Steve-O, I am subscribing to a TCU blowout. 41-14, the lead over North Carolina. And it's gotten to the point in the program where ESPN is saying, okay, Let's unload all the flavor stuff we had about Belichick and his dad and his kid. Let's see all the old video now. It's the fourth quarter of a 40-point game. Let's show all the great interesting stuff so people will stay and watch the rest of the way.
I thought they unloaded all of that in the 1 hour pregame love fest before this kickoff. You know, as you mentioned, TCU was not a bad team last year. They came in here favored on the road. I didn't expect a blowout, quite honestly. It's 41-14 TCU with about 10.5 minutes to go, and they're driving again into the red zone. But my goodness, has this been lopsided? Just ridiculously so after the Tar Heels opening drive. TCU down to the 1 yard line right now.
Yeah, look, we talked about this beginning of last hour. We came on, and TCU jumps out in the second half, and they get a touchdown early to make it 27-7. And look, I wasn't surprised. I'm not surprised, right? I'm not surprised that TCU is winning this game this much because, you know, now 41-14, yeah, that's the thing, but it's not surprising that TCU is dominating because, you know, all the pageantry aside now, all the bits, and here's Belichick, and oh my goodness, and here's Belichick and his kid, and Belichick and Belichick and Belichick. All the attention, you know, TCU is still an 8-win team, and they were, you know, 1 game away from potentially being a playoff team last year. And North Carolina is a ACC program, right? At best. I mean, you know, 6-6, okay, you know, it's still 6 wins, however you want to, you know, set up. Like, they're a mid program at best. And so, you know, when they came in, honestly, the big surprise to me was the fact that, wow, North Carolina goes down the field and scores right away. Suddenly, you know, all the narrative of look at Belichick, right? This is the dangers of live tweeting a game when you want to just get out there. I can't wait to talk. Oh, I told you Belichick would be great. I told you, look at him. Everybody's looking up at Belichick. He's going to be in the playoff. Yeah.
That is not just a freezing cold take. It is freeze-dried. It's like immediately a bad take. Touchdown TCU, by the way. Extra point will make it 48-14 at North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not surprised they're winning this game because they are the better team. And I will say this, okay, about motivation, right? We made a big comparison last hour to no matter what happens tonight, North Carolina is the A story of the year in college football because of Bill Belichick, just like Deion and Colorado was in 23. You have famous alums showing up at the game, showing all kinds of support, right? We saw it in Colorado. We see it tonight here in North Carolina. Even players who played for Belichick and didn't go to North Carolina are there. Like, that's that kind of story. The same kind of energy surrounds North Carolina and Belichick like surrounded Colorado and Deion Sanders. When Deion Sanders in Colorado burst on the scene in 2023, right, that big 45-42 win week 1 of the regular season where Travis Hunter was great and Shedeur Sanders was great, it was against these TCU Horned Frogs. Yeah. You don't think that was a big part of the discussion going into the game? You don't think that was a big thing? Hey, 2 years ago, same spot we were. Everybody's talking about this other team and the coach and what happened. The spotlight was too bright for us. We should have won that game. I mean, you play that game at the end of the year, you're like, wow, man, we should have won that game by 50. So I guarantee you that was a little bit more extra set of motivation for TCU coming into this, just because 2 years ago, we saw this exact same thing. We're making sure we're not on the other side of that tonight.
You know what North Carolina's on the other side of tonight? A whooping, an absolute whooping. 48-14. I mean, it could not have gone worse. Well, okay, if there wasn't an opening drive touchdown to talk about, I guess.
I thought you were going to say they were on the opposite side of winning. I thought that's your going to say.
That is an understatement, the understatement of the night. The next 2 games are against Charlotte and Richmond. If they don't beat Richmond by double digits, I mean, do you just fold up the tents and go home now? Because I don't know. I know they don't play most of the good teams in the ACC this year. They do have to play Clemson in about a month. I mean, what is this season going to be looking like?
Well, look, and that's the big takeaway from this now, and that in one game, or really, since the opening drive of this game, it's gone from North Carolina comes into this game. Look at their schedule, right? They have Clemson, but that's it. Everybody else looks like they could be beatable, right? They don't like that. And that's the big thing that people forget now about college football with the expanded teams. And there's, 25 teams in each of the big conferences, is that you can't play everybody, and you miss everybody. And while certain matchups are always going to be tried and true, Michigan and Ohio State are always going to play. Michigan's going to play Penn State. Ohio State will play Penn, which is not really fair.
No, but
it's
the
not always fair to those big
has
teams,
already
right?
said their schedule starting next year. You're going to play this set of opponents and just rotate every couple of years with the others. You can't play everybody. And it is an expanded playoff, so a team like SMU can pile up the wins and, like last year, get into the postseason.
So when you understand that, it's like, okay, here's North Carolina's schedule, right? Charlotte next week, Richmond, Central Florida, Clemson, Cal, Virginia, Syracuse, Stanford, Wake Forest, Duke, North Carolina State. Like, these are all games that you would think, in theory, they're winnable. Now, you don't know, hey, what is Syracuse going to look like at the end of October? What's Duke going to look like at the end, early in November, right? You don't know. But right now, hey, North Carolina, a mid-program. All right, this is a very easy schedule, and you have to take advantage of easy schedules, right? It's how did Indiana get to the playoff last year? Boy, we played nobody. We played a Michigan team that didn't even have a quarterback. They direct snapped it to Kyle Mullings, and that was how they got down the field, right? So that's how they get into the playoffs. So all of a sudden, Belichick, the narrative kind of flipped to, hey, here he is. We're ready for the season. They've been drama-free for the summer, right? Not a lot of Jordan Hudson stuff. There's been 2.5 months of, okay, we got to make sure we're getting ready for the year, and there can't be any more distractions, any more bad storylines of what's going on here. So now you look at the schedule and go, wow, this could really be a year where maybe does North Carolina win 10 games? Can they sneak into the playoff? Because Bill Belichick is going to get the benefit of the doubt if his team is really good, right? Okay, Belichick's, of course, going to let Belichick in the playoffs. Now, it's the flip side of it. And I know it's one game, but it's one game where you are getting boat raced by a team that, yeah, they're better than you and they're good, but are they this much better? And so suddenly now all of the old worries you had about North Carolina coming into this year, now they're even worse, right? Because you had Belichick coming in. How long is he really there for? Does he want to jump to the NFL? Again, the headlines with Jordan Hudson, a lot of chaos supposedly at the school, a lot of drama involving the upper offices of college football at North Carolina and Belichick and what he's doing and how the recruiting is going. There's a lot of, hey, the jury is out, right? But then you get to this season and suddenly, if it's a year where you have an easy schedule and you are the same or you're worse, you're still a mid-program or you're worse, I mean, like, it tells you, how long does Belichick have to win? I mean, I get it's one game, but wow, this is one game that you say, how the hell do you make this? But the pressure to beat Charlotte next week is immense. All of a sudden, UNC Charlotte could be ending your season. Like, how long does Belichick have coming off of the drama? Because you can see how it will play at the end of the year. If North Carolina's bad, who's gonna say, hey, I'm a recruit, I want to go play for Belichick? You're thinking, how much longer is a guy really going to be there? He's 74 years old. This season was a disaster. Am I going to get the recruits? They're all going to go to bigger schools in the ACC. I just saw what happened this year. This is an absolute mess. Why am I going to Belichick at North Carolina? And then suddenly, from North Carolina's perspective, is this worth it? Right? Like, is this worth it? We spent a lot of money. We went in on Belichick, and now look at what a disaster this season was. Is it time to have a conversation about a joint moving on? And I mean, I know it's one game, but again, that's the stakes right now. And that's sometimes how fast things can change, especially in college football. And that's where we are right now with this situation, is that this is just such a bad thing for Belichick in North Carolina. You're saying, how do you fix this? I mean, can you fix this enough to where you can instill confidence that I'm the guy to continue to turn this thing around in North Carolina?
On paper, to make something of this first season, and granted, there were not immense expectations of the program his first season in, but there were only so many games on the paper schedule that said, you pretty much have to show in this game. I mean, it was a finite and minute amount, and this was one of them. You had national TV all to yourself because the NFL hasn't started yet. Monday Night Football was you, and they're down 48-14 mid-fourth quarter to TCU right now, and there's an immense amount of empty light blue seats showing in the stadium still with this much time left, and I'm fully expecting Jordan Hudson to go straight into the booth and say, we're not talking about this, and start turning off the lights and see if ESPN can go off the air at this point, because this has gotten too embarrassing. After scoring a touchdown on the first drive, they've been outscored 48-7.
I want to say I can't picture her going into the broadcast booth during the game and asking them to cut to commercial, but I actually can see that.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually can picture that happening.
You know what I can picture? The backup quarterback has been good tonight, Max Johnson. The starter, Gio Lopez, left with injury. He had an interception. He had a fumble. They fell behind big. Max Johnson coming back from injury, gets back on the field, and he's 9 of 11 over 100 yards passing and a touchdown. But if he wasn't good off the bench and they were going to go to somebody else, I was fully expecting Michael Lombardi to be his third quarterback for North Carolina's program tonight, the general manager of the Tar Heels, because you can pretty much, this isn't the NFL. You can't make a trade here mid-season and try and add some people. This is college. The roster you start with, well, you're kind of stuck with, and he is really stuck at this point.
Yeah, and look, and it's so how things change, right? We talked about this with Jason Lockenforer last hour. Bill Belichick. Now, Belichick has had some bad defeats over the course of his NFL career, right?
A couple years ago, as you mentioned.
Yeah, he lost in the playoff I think it was like 45-14 or something against the Bills in the playoffs. But the worst he had, I remember he lost 31-0 to the Bills again. That was really big. That was in like 2003, I think.
Saints game a couple years ago.
Yeah. He lost
Cowboys.
He lost opening week to the Bills 31-0 in like 2003. We thought, okay, the era is over for the Patriots. And then the last game of the season, he beat the Bills 31-0. So like he flipped it, right? But the worst loss he has had was that game you mentioned against the Cowboys a couple of years ago, his last year in New England when things were done. 38-3, lost by 35 points. TCU has their backups in now, and they're running the football. It's a 48-14 lead right now. TCU gets in the end zone again. It's officially, and North Carolina doesn't score again. It's officially the worst loss of Bill Belichick's career.
By the time it was 27-7, the stat came out that only one other time in Belichick's career had he trailed a season opener by 20 points as a head coach, and that was over 20 years ago, the 31-0 loss to the Bills.
This is, and they're showing everybody on their phones now in the stands, and everybody's just waiting for the game. Look, I want to hear Belichick now. And now it's like, okay, I got to hear Belichick. No matter what he says, how surly he's going to be with the press.
We're on to Syracuse.
Can't wait to hear him. We're on to Syracuse. We're on to Syracuse. We're on to Charlotte. This is where you're at. Sometimes things change so bad, so quickly in college football. You think, how long does Belichick have to win after a night like tonight? Again, 48-14 is the TCU lead. They have the football. They are in North Carolina territory. They've run the ball, I think, 17 consecutive plays. So I don't think they're going to throw the ball again.
You're 8 yards a carry. You might as well.
Yeah. I didn't need to throw at the beginning of the game. But, hey, Hoover was really good, too. So that's really how quick things change for Bill Belichick at the collegiate level. We'll have more in this game coming up next. But speaking of the big results of college football this weekend, maybe the smartest head coach in college football was a guy who resigned and retired 2 years ago. Why is that? We'll tell you next right here. Jason Smith, Steve DeSager in for Mike Harmon. This is Fox Sports Radio. Week 1 is your shot to play free and stack $1 million cash bag with DraftKings Pick 6, an official partner of the NFL. Here's how. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, DraftKings' easiest way to play fantasy. Enter for free and pick more or less on 6-player stats for Week 1. It's simple. Share your link with friends to add more cash to the bag and get bonus shots to win. Hit all 6 picks, you'll be splitting a bag that's already at $1 million or more. How do you get it? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use code JSS, opt in for free, and start stacking entries for NFL Week 1. That's the DraftKings Pick 6 app, code JSS, opt in for free. Zero cost, huge upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. Again, download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use code JSS, DraftKings Pick 6 app, opt in for free. DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
3, 2, 1.
You work hard, America.
Work.
So you deserve this one day. That's all we get is one damn day. Well, 3 if you're lucky.
Y'all feel me?
It's your Labor Day weekend. Celebrate safe with us on Fox Sports Radio.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like 24/7 comedy.
Men don't settle down. We surrender.
Women, we never express the emotions we're actually feeling, right? I'm fine means I'm about to stab you in the neck.
Clips from today's top comedians and the greatest of all time.
Donut hole. If you want a donut, have a donut. Why are you eating the hole?
When you need a laugh, just open the free iHeartRadio app and search comedy.
You can actually change the station.
iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
The Rocket Man has landed on iHeartRadio.
This is Elton John, and this is iHeart's Elton John Radio.
Every hit, every deep cut, and the behind-the-scenes stories from Sir Elton himself.
It became my first ever hit.
From the anthems that made history to Elton's own picks, all commercial-free, including his new song with Brandi Carlile, the soundtrack of a legend. Search Elton John Radio on your iHeart app to listen now.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Welcome to the Criminalia podcast.
I'm Holly Fry.
And I'm Maria Tremarchi.
And together we're exploring the margins of history, and specifically at the intersection of history and true crime.
Our first season of the show is all about lady poisoners.
And history has not been kind to ladies. Women have been marginalized, they've been vilified, they're falsely accused, and often just plain misunderstood time and time again. But sometimes women take power for themselves and they make their voices heard. And sometimes they do it through murder.
So poison's often been called a woman's weapon. And that's despite the fact that roughly 2/3 of the poisonings committed throughout history have been the work of men.
So Maria and I wanted to get our hands dirty and dig in and start looking at these women accused of using poison for nefarious means and try to figure out their motivations and see what patterns develop.
So we're going to cover everything from Caligula's sister, Agrippina.
Was she a killer, or was she just ambitious enough to seem automatically suspicious?
To a law made in 19th century England, making it illegal for women to buy arsenic, which was just rat poison.
Even though it was men doing most of the killing through poison at the time.
To a 1920s Chicago case where Tilly Klimek was given a much harsher sentence than prettier women with similar rap sheets.
So the takeaway is, if you're going to commit crime, be cute about it.
Yes.
Some of these women absolutely were guilty, but some of them were probably labeled as criminals when that was not the case.
And all of them were viewed through society's lens as sitting at this often sensationalized intersection of being both killers and the fairer sex.
But how many were truly villains, and how many were just misunderstood? Join us on Criminalia as we untangle their stories on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever it is you listen.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
To find FS1 on your television, go to foxsports.com for details.
Check them out.
FS1.
Check them out.
FS1.
Fox Sports Radio, the Jason Smith Show with special delivery. Steve DeSager in for Mike Harmon. And the clock is ticking. Less than 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. TCU knocking on the door. Don't know how many more plays they're going to run. They lead North Carolina 48-14.
Should have had a running clock the whole fourth quarter.
Well, actually, after that opening run in the second half, the 75-yard touchdown run, like that should have been the moment where it was okay. We got to run the clock here.
That made it 27-7. It is now 48-14 TCU. So here, Bill Belichick's had almost 50 years as an NFL head coach or assistant. His teams never once allowed 48 points or more in a game. And in his first night as a college head coach, 48 for TCU.
543 total yards for TCU, and the coaching staff has taken off their headsets. I don't think TCU with a 1st and goal at the 8 is going to run another play. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. It'd be really weird.
Jim Harbaugh would.
Yeah, well, especially, hey, I'm going to get revenge for all the times Belichick did this in the NFL.
Yeah.
TCU, they're running a kneel-down play, so that's going to be at final snap. This is going to be a 48-14 final. The Horned Frogs absolutely blow out North Carolina, and it was outside of the first drive of the game. That was as good as it got for North Carolina. We'll bring you Bill Belichick's press conference when maybe he'll talk. I don't know. I mean, he may just to say, I'm done. I
think it will be a lot of dead air, as we say in the radio business.
They executed, and we got some things to work on.
Charlotte,
offense, defense,
on to Charlotte,
special teams. Just some
just not
some
good
things. It's just not.
Got to get another hoodie.
He is being escorted off the field. Oh, that's going to be a meme. Belichick gives the camera a huge stare, like, don't get too close to me, as he's being escorted off the field. It was not.
That's him actually getting arrested.
I think there is
the cops are surrounding him.
There are as many law enforcement members around him as there were points allowed tonight.
He's in big trouble, Steve.
I think so. I think they might have had. More Mounties surrounding him than first downs.
Yeah. Should be arrested for impersonating an ACC football team tonight.
Ooh, boy. Sonny Dykes doing the post-game interview. As soon as Belichick talks, we'll bring it to you. But just to finish on this game for a second before we get
How'd
to
you like
one of the
to
other
be
big
the
games.
PR guy, the SID at the North Carolina program working with Belichick if it's this kind of season this year?
Remember the scene in Airplane when Robert Hayes is just sweating down his entire face? And that's what it's got to be to be the PR guy right now. You spent the whole game like talking to people. Okay, great. We got this. Yeah, we lose. Now you walk in. It's like, oh, man, nobody's
It's
in a
like
good mood.
the
This
nation
terrible.
is leaving. The attention is gone after tonight for the rest of the season.
I'm pretty sure I saw their SID cheer after TCU scored.
Hey, see, that's the thing, Steve. I think you're wrong because one thing we like in sports is a train wreck, right? And this is not, hey, a team that we thought was going to be good and you lose a couple of games and they go away, right? If Michigan isn't good and they lose a couple of games, well, look, were they in the national conversation last year? No, not really, because they lost a couple of games. Now they come back in at the end and they beat Ohio State and it becomes a thing. But usually you lose a couple of games in college football, we move on because we don't have time for you because, hey, you're not going to the playoffs. We know this, right? It's not the NFL where you can start 0-3 and figure it out. We know, we move on. But Belichick is such a huge story. He's the Colorado and Deion Sanders of this year from 2023.
Without the talking,
win or
though.
lose.
Deion was always effervescent and had something to say, and he could create a storyline. Belichick's not going to do any of that. And on their 12-game schedule, ESPN was only scheduled to carry 2 other games of the rest of their season. They're not going to be adding North Carolina games now.
I don't know. The Belichick
the UCF
drama,
matchup, Stanford.
Oh no.
Cal.
But the attention on it, it's look, it's going to be just like Colorado, right? We talked about coming in that it's like when Deion takes over, right? That, it's some kind of new energy, and he's got some good players. But we saw after September, well, okay, the overall end-all, be-all, because it was the only story in college football. Okay, that went away a little bit because Colorado started losing, right? And okay, now Deion was new to college football, and the Colorado story was like a comet, like it was white hot. So you knew it couldn't stay white hot forever. Okay, Colorado loses, things kind of go away a little bit. With Belichick in North Carolina, Belichick is a different personality. We've talked about Bill Belichick. He's been a big deal for the better part of the last 20 years. Deion Sanders was a big star when he played. He was on TV, NFL Network, right? He went to become a head coach in FCS and then got the gig at Colorado. But it's different. Belichick is he's much more an off-the-field storyline because of his relationship with Jordan Hudson. Whatever happens with Bill Belichick, because we could be looking at the end of his career of a guy that we thought was the best head coach in the history of the NFL with his Super Bowls and coming in and Brady and debating who is more responsible, Brady, Belichick, which way is it? Like, Belichick's got a lot more cachet built up into this, and the failure of Belichick is going to have way more eyeballs on it than the failure of Deion Sanders that first year with Colorado, right? And that's why, whatever it is for him, it's like, man, yeah, maybe teams aren't picking up on it. Maybe you're going to have to find the game on CBS Sports Network, or if the game is on FS1, a North Carolina game, and when they play Charlotte,
or the Ocho,
or the Ocho, yeah. But you're going to follow it
right after the slippery steps.
You're going to follow it, and it's going to be a story because the fall of Belichick is just as intriguing as the rise of Belichick. Like, if they're really bad or mediocre, it's just the same as them being great. Now them being great, obviously there'd be more attention. Their games would be, but the attention we're going to spend and people will spend talking about them. There's 2 stories this college football season. It's Arch Manning and it's Bill Belichick, and that's not going away.
Or this story of North Carolina's 2025 season goes the way of the torpedo bat, which nobody talked about anymore. This team is going nowhere, and one big difference compared to Colorado a couple of years ago is you could tune in because we felt like we knew the quarterback. Hey, Deion's son. Hey, maybe you watch the FCS, HBCU title game, or, there was something to see on the field, and certainly Travis Hunter became something to see on the field. This roster has none of that. So in a North Carolina broadcast for the rest of the season, whatever cable company picks up a game, if they do, unless they show Belichick 10 times on the sidelines, there may not be much to see.
Well, of course they're going to show that. That's all they're going to show. It's
That's
about
not
Belichick,
worth watching.
Jordan Hudson. But sure it is. But we love the train wreck almost as much as we love dynasties in sports.
What games, what North Carolina games are going to get national attention?
The hate watchers will come out of the woodworks for this.
They will go crazy for Belichick, right? Belichick has been antagonistic with the media, with fans his entire career.
So they're adding the Wake Forest game and the UCF game.
The Patriots got caught.
All the teams he cheated on against all your teams. Everybody's going to want to watch his failures.
So the NFL Network should carry it.
Yeah. But this is the thing is that, okay, so next week they play a 4:00 game against Charlotte, right? Just to play it out with me here.
And nobody's carrying it.
Right. No one's carrying it. Well, right now ESPN Plus has it. You'll be able to get it if you really want it, right? But what game And it doesn't matter if you even watch the game. That's the thing. It's all about the results. It doesn't matter. Like, you can watch Michigan and Alabama next week and just keep an eye. Oh, man, North Carolina and North Carolina. It's 14-14 midway of the fourth quarter. Oh, my goodness, what's going to happen if they lose? It's just about the result for Belichick in North Carolina. He's such a big, oversized personality that is polarizing that people are going to watch. They will watch the fall. Yeah, they will watch the fall, right? I mean, there's some that want to see him succeed, and him succeeding would be an incredible story because we spend more time talking about the teams that are great regardless. But when you have a team like the Dallas Cowboys, if they stink this year, you think we're not going to cover them every single week after the Micah Parsons trade? They're story number one all year long. The Jets could be undefeated. They could be 14-0. Justin Fields, the front runner for MVP, he's got 38 touchdowns through 12 weeks. And if the Cowboys are 4-8, guess what the number one story is? The Cowboys being 4-8, trying to find a way to win. No Micah Parsons. It's still going to be that way because that's kind of how we watch sports. It's kind of how we consume it. And the Belichick North Carolina thing, it doesn't matter. It's just going to keep going.
After this atrocious an opening, they lose 48-14 at home to TCU tonight. It's not a bigger story next Saturday night than Michigan, Oklahoma.
If North Carolina loses to Charlotte next week, I think it's the same story. I think it's the same size story as Michigan, Oklahoma. It becomes the 1A, 1 or 1A story of the week. All of a sudden, wait, you're 0-2. You lost to North Carolina, Charlotte. You got Richmond coming up, and you still haven't won a game. Oh my goodness! Like, it becomes that big a deal. Only because it could be like, it's not like this could be Belichick where he loses and we say, okay, this could be the end of Belichick's career. The NFL didn't want him. They sure as hell. No one else is looking, saying, boy, we missed out bringing Belichick back after this game.
Correct.
Like, we're looking at what could be the end of his career.
I mean, by mid-October, this might be like the Lynn Sanity story.
Oh, wow. Hey, he just
done.
retired, Jeremy Lin. He just retired, like, over the weekend, Steve. Yeah, he just retired, man. Give the guy a little bit of time.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Time, man.
Did I not see him play in North America last year, year before?
Give him a little bit.
Okay.
He was
real quick, just to know where Jason's coming from. Imagine your team is the Jets. Sorry, but just imagine. All the ass kickings that Belichick and the Patriots gave him.
There
of
you
course,
go.
people like Jason are going to want to see.
Yeah.
They're going to come out to hate watch Belichick.
I'm just saying it's not a parallel to Colorado because Colorado had a product on the field.
Yeah, no, but Colorado also, when they started losing, lost interest, even with Shedeur Sanders
like Dion
and Travis Hunter, right? He's polarizing, right? More people